Chapter 447. Is it really over? Will this be the end of my life? Looking at his cracked body, Yi Chunfeng's consciousness began to blur. His dark eyes were filled with an intense unwillingness and despair. He was unwilling for his life to end like this. But his body had already cracked and space had been shattered by the heavenly Tao tablet. Yi Chunfeng was powerless. Just as Yi Chunfeng's consciousness began to fade away, a large number of glowing words appeared in the God-Eater's mind. Rebirth after death, death after life. Life after life, death after life. Without life, how can there be death? Without death, how can there be life? Life and death are the same. See through life and death, revive death and life. See through life and death, revive death and life. See through life and death, revive death and life. Yi Chunfeng, who had already given up, suddenly grasped the true meaning of life. His dying flames of life began to burn brighter, and the swaying chaos divine wood began to glow with new strength. This is the power of life. How can there be so much power of life in this space? Just as Yi Chunfeng's hope was rekindled and his soul began to comprehend the world, he unexpectedly sensed a powerful heavenly Tao concept and vast power of life in this cracked space. So the heavenly Tao tablet's final test is to see through life and death. If I give up, everything will end. But only by seeing through life and death and rekindling hope can I sense the power of life in this space. Power of life, reconstruct my body. With a thought from Yi Chunfeng, a powerful devouring power surged out from the increasingly vigorous flames of life, attracting the life energy drifting in the air. The life energy gushed into the flames of life like rivers flowing into the sea. The heavenly Tao concept floating in this space was also drawn in. It was like a seal of light that imprinted itself into the flames of life, tempering Yi Chunfeng's new body. Damn, that scared me to death. The Chaos Divine Beast, who had been living in the Chaos Divine Wood and had been awakened by the heavenly Tao tablet's shattering, discovered that Yi Chunfeng had miraculously fused the power of life and the heavenly Tao concept together and begun to reconstruct his body. It let out a long sigh of relief. Once Yi Chunfeng died here, the Chaos Divine would become an ownerless object, and it would be trapped here with the Chaos Divine Wood, forever unable to leave. Dong, dong, dong. After an unknown period of time, the sound of a huge heart beating suddenly appeared between heaven and earth, as if a divine bell was shaking in space. As the beating grew louder and louder, Yi Chunfeng's heart, which had fused with a large amount of life force and had been baptized by the heavenly Tao, was formed. After condensing a new heart, Yi Chunfeng's flame of life became even more exuberant, completely surpassing that of an emperor-level powerhouse. Not many people in the entire Duhan continent would have the opportunity to fuse the power of life and condense the will of the heavenly Tao into a physical body. It could be said that once Yi Chunfeng condensed a new body, the potential of his body would reach an extremely terrifying level. Even the geniuses of the heaven region, who were born with a silver spoon in their mouths, would not be able to compare. Slowly, as Yi Chunfeng bathed in the power of life and the heavenly Tao, he felt as if he had returned to his mother's body. He reconstructed a new body and awoke from his slumber, his consciousness becoming clearer. Is this my new body? The instant Yi Chunfeng regained consciousness, he could clearly feel the changes in his body. Although his new body's strength did not increase significantly, his physical defense had nearly reached the level of a high-grade heaven artifact. His bones were even tougher than a high-grade heaven artifact. There was not a trace of impurities in his blood, and his milk-like skin was flowing with light. More importantly, an ordinary expert of the profound beast sect had a lifespan of 1,200 years. However, Yi Chunfeng's new body had doubled his lifespan due to the large amount of life force he had absorbed. He now had a lifespan of 2,400 years, which was comparable to a fourth-rank defiant beast king. Primal Chaos Divine Wood fuse. Yi Chunfeng glanced at the primal Chaos Divine Wood floating in the air. It had grown a bit taller and had grown 15 five-colored divine leaves. He put it back into his body and let it live in his heart. With my current strength, I should be able to easily kill a rank 6 reverse beast king. Yi Chunfeng was very satisfied with his new body. He felt that with his current strength, he could definitely kill a rank 6 reverse beast king. Yi Chunfeng, congratulations on passing the test of the Heavenly Tao tablet and obtaining the inheritance of the Heavenly Tao. At this time, the ancient palace spirit tore through the chaotic space and appeared in front of Yi Chunfeng. Thank you, Senior. Yi Chunfeng's eyes flickered with a glassy light, and his body exuded a sharp, sword-like aura, giving off a mysterious feeling. Yi Chunfeng, whose facial features were even more handsome, revealed a faint smile as he expressed his gratitude. The ancient palace spirit shook its head and said in a deep voice, "You don't have to thank me. All of this was obtained through your hard work. Right, I'll give you another reward." With that said, the ancient palace spirit extended its illusory hand, revealing a foot-long, pitch-black bug with a circle of sharp teeth in its palm. "This is my space-swallowing bug." Looking at the black bug in the ancient palace spirit's hand, Yi Chunfeng raised his eyebrows. According to his bloodline, he recognized that it was the space-swallowing bug that he had hatched earlier. That's right. Just now, several of your Qianquan rings were shattered by the Heavenly Tao tablet. I found this space-swallowing bug in one of the rings and gave it some ancient beast blood to help it complete a transformation. Here, I'll return this space-swallowing bug to you. As it spoke, the ancient palace spirit returned the space-swallowing bug that had completed a transformation and gained intelligence. Could communicate with Yi Chunfeng. Yi Chunfeng, this space-swallowing bug is an ancient strange bug that likes to eat the blood essence of demonic beasts. In the future, if you can hunt powerful demonic beasts, you can give some of the blood essence to the space-swallowing bug to accelerate its transformation. Once this space-swallowing bug transforms to mature, not only will it be extremely powerful, but it will also have the ability to devour the universe space. At that time, you can use the wormhole that the space-swallowing bug devours to travel through the universe space at will. The ancient palace spirit had the space-swallowing bug's inherited memories and told Yi Chunfeng in detail. "Thank you, Senior. I will take good care of it." Yi Chunfeng nodded and said, "Let's go. I'll take you to a place to cultivate." As it spoke, the ancient palace spirit gently waved its hand and tore the void. It brought Yi Chunfeng out of the chaotic space and into the depths of the ancient heaven palace. There was a blood pool that was embedded in the void and was surrounded by blood clouds. What a rich blood qi! Looking at the transparent blood pool that was embedded in the void and exuding a rich blood qi, Yi Chunfeng felt that all the cells in his body had become active. This is the most precious sacred blood pool in the ancient heaven palace. It is far better than the ancient beast blood pool that those people cultivated. It has the ability to increase the power of the bloodline and the potential of the body. This is an additional reward for you. However, because this sacred blood pool is too precious, it has to be left for other fated people. Therefore, you only have 3 days to cultivate. After 3 days, I will send you out of the ancient heaven palace. The ancient palace spirit said. Sacred blood. Could it be that this sacred blood pool contains the blood of a sacred beast? Yi Chunfeng frowned and secretly guessed in his heart. Thank you, Senior. Then I will go in and cultivate. After saying that, Yi Chunfeng summoned the golden rock wings and directly flew into the sacred blood pool, which was as viscous as jade and emitted a refreshing fragrance. He opened all the pores on his body and circulated the soul-devouring incantation at high speed, crazily absorbing the sacred blood that was enough to make an emperor-level expert's eyes turn red. He raised the power of his bloodline and his strength. Mobile reading website, book address. In order to make it easier for you to read next time, you can click Save at the bottom to record this reading record. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 448. Day by day, Yi Chunfeng and the others made full use of the limited time they had to absorb as much precious blood as possible to strengthen their bloodline and increase their strength. 5th rank Reverse Beast King Breakthrough. After 16 days of cultivation, Song Bingshan had absorbed a large amount of ancient beast blood and raised his 5-headed serpent bloodline to an extremely high level. He had successfully broken through and become a 5th rank Reverse Beast King. Becoming a 5th rank Reverse Beast King before the age of 30, Song Bingshan's monstrous talent was enough for him to be proud of himself. Phew, I've finally broken through. Sensing the change in his strength, Song Bingshan smiled arrogantly. Although he hadn't obtained the most precious heavenly Tao inheritance in the ancient Heaven Palace, his strength had undergone an earth-shattering change after cultivating the darkness Tao intent to the 3rd heavenly layer. He had no doubt that he could kill a Class 6 Defiant Beast King with his current strength and trump card. He was confident that he could kill Jian Chen in an open battle. The ancient Heaven Palace really is my blessed land. With my current strength, I should be able to defeat Mo Wuang and dominate the Dragon Lake martial competition. Song Bingshan's heart was filled with ambition as he thought to himself. Mo Wuang was the publicly acknowledged #1 genius of the Western Devil sect. He had become a 5th rank Reverse Beast King before the age of 30. Whether it was talent or strength, he had surpassed Song Bingshan. But now that Song Bingshan had obtained a great opportunity in the ancient Heaven Palace, his strength had increased by leaps and bounds. He was somewhat impatient to challenge Mo Wuang and let him know who was the true #1 genius of the Western Devil sect and the entire Western continent. As for Yi Chunfeng, he no longer cared about him. He didn't believe that Yi Chunfeng would be able to create a miracle in the next 2 days and obtain the ancient Heaven Palace's greatest inheritance. But he didn't know that not only had Yi Chunfeng obtained the most precious heavenly Tao inheritance in the ancient Heaven Palace, but he was also cultivating in the sacred blood pool. Roar! Screech! Yi Chunfeng was like a bottomless pit as he crazily absorbed the sacred blood in the sacred blood pool. After cultivating for 3 days, a dragon's roar and a bird's cry rang out from his body. An enormous dragon shadow and a golden rock shadow with its wings spread out to cover the sky appeared on his body, reflecting each other's brilliance above his head. After absorbing a large amount of saint blood, Yi Chunfeng's dragon bloodline and golden rock bloodline were greatly improved, from the lowest 1st grade bloodline to the 2nd grade bloodline. Yi Chunfeng's strength had also increased significantly. If he hadn't been trying so hard to suppress his cultivation, he would have naturally broken through to become a level 1 Defiant Beast King. However, although his cultivation level did not break through, his overall combat strength had greatly increased. More importantly, the Chaos Divine Wood had devoured a large amount of holy beast blood, and had already nurtured 10 streaks of chaotic power, which could break the hard outer shell of the dragon egg at any time. This was also the reason why Yi Chunfeng had been suppressing his cultivation and hadn't broken through to the Reverse Beast King realm. He wanted to accumulate the strongest foundation and lay down the most solid foundation. This way, his future path would be smoother and his potential would be stronger. Extreme Ancient Purple Lightning, Ancient Heavenly Lightning Fusion. While Yi Chunfeng was absorbing the sacred blood to cultivate, he had grown 15 5-colored divine leaf. The primal Chaos Divine Wood, which contained a substantial increase in power, had successfully fused the Extreme Ancient Purple Lightning and Extreme Ancient Heavenly Lightning together, forming the incomparably powerful Extreme Ancient Heavenly Lightning, once again increasing Yi Chunfeng's foundation. Cultivation time is up. Everyone stop cultivating and leave the ancient Heaven Palace. At this moment, the ancient palace spirit let out a deep voice, waking Yi Chunfeng and the others up from their cultivation. It gave an irresistible order. Haha, Yi Chunfeng, you really did die in the ancient Heaven Palace. Hearing the ancient palace spirit's voice, Songbing Shan revealed a smile of schadenfreude and excitedly laughed. Yi Chunfeng's death had removed a thorn in his heart that he had never been able to remove. It had also mended a small crack in his martial heart. However, there was still a trace of regret in his heart, and that was that he hadn't been able to personally kill Yi Chunfeng and use his blood to wash away his shame. Sigh, I really didn't think that even with Yi Chunfeng's shocking talent, he would die in the ancient Heaven Palace's highest inheritance. I really don't know what the highest inheritance is. Gan Wuxin, who had broken through to the second-rank Reverse Beast King realm, sighed, feeling pity for Yi Chunfeng. Yi Chunfeng, are you really dead? Jian Chen, who had also become a peak third-rank Reverse Beast King, had a trace of doubt in his eyes. He had never imagined that Yi Chunfeng, the first person he had ever admired, would die in the ancient Heaven Palace. Buzz buzz buzz. Just as the three of them still hadn't seen Yi Chunfeng and had different thoughts, 3 spatial rifts appeared above their heads, teleporting them out of the ancient Heaven Palace. Yi Chunfeng, after this farewell, we will never meet again. However, I believe that in the future you will definitely be able to stand at the peak of the martial path. At that time, I hope you can leave behind your inheritance to benefit the world. The ancient palace spirit appeared above the sacred blood pond and looked at Yi Chunfeng, whose aura was restrained but still dazzling, and said slowly, Yi Chunfeng, don't be afraid of him. If there comes a day when this junior steps onto the peak of the martial path, I will definitely bring blessings to the world. Yi Chunfeng nodded his head and promised. I believe you. The ancient palace spirit nodded, revealing a gratified expression. It tore through the void and said, Yi Chunfeng, goodbye. After that, a powerful teleportation force came out of the spatial crack and swallowed Yi Chunfeng. In the blink of an eye, Yi Chunfeng disappeared from the sacred blood pool. Jian Chen, the humiliation you brought me in the future, it's time to pay it back. After being teleported out of the ancient Heaven Palace, Songbing Shan's strength had increased by leaps and bounds. He had reached an extremely terrifying realm and was currently being attacked by the 9E9 Extreme Formation. He immediately looked at Jian Chen and said with killing intent, with just you. An ear-piercing sword hum rang out from Jian Chen's body. He held the mid-grade Dao artifact, Calamity Slaughtering Sword, and pointed it at Songbing Shan. Jian Chen, I'll help you deal with him. Qian Wuxin held a sky-splitting saber in his hand and looked at the blue ice mountain with hostility. No need, I'm enough to deal with him. Jian Chen shook his head. His deep eyes were filled with great confidence as he said indifferently, Ha ha ha, Jian Chen, I'll soon let you know just how great the difference in strength is between us. Songbing Shan laughed arrogantly. He instantly ignited his bloodline and unsealed the demon sealing saber. Carrying a shocking amount of demonic qi, he slashed at Jian Chen. Third heavenly layer of the Way of the Sword. Songbing Shan slashed at Jian Chen with the demon sealing saber. Jian Chen's pupils immediately narrowed to the size of a pinhole. 30 sword runes flew out of his body and merged with the Calamity Slaughtering Sword. He tore through the air and met the attack with an unstoppable force. Chi. The saber and sword clashed, producing an ear-piercing metallic sound. 30 sword runes and 30 dark runes clashed fiercely. The explosive power alarmed Shui Tianqi, Daoist Jianling, and the others who were attacking the 9E9 Extreme Formation with all their strength. Break! Just as the runes clashed, Songbing Shan, who had broken through to rank 5 Reverse Beast King, erupted with strength far greater than Jian Chen's. He slashed out with the demon sealing saber. The terrifying saber light directly cut through the 30 sword runes and forced Jian Chen back. Just as Jian Chen's expression turned serious and he suppressed the surging blood qi in his body to counterattack, another spatial crack appeared in the ancient Heaven Palace. A sharp figure appeared in the void, snatching away the brilliance of heaven and earth. Reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click Save at the bottom to record your reading history. You will be able to see it the next time you open your bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 449. This figure, Yi Chunfeng, actually didn't die. Surrounded by the Tao of darkness, Songbing Shan stared at the figure flying out of the ancient heaven palace through the layers of chaotic air. His eyes widened in shock as if he had seen a ghost. Could it be that he passed the most difficult test of the ancient heaven palace and obtained the highest inheritance? A thought that made Songbing Shan tremble in fear appeared in his mind, causing his entire heart to tremble. When he accepted the ancient heaven palace's intermediate test, Grey Ice Mountain had encountered danger numerous times, and he'd even exhausted numerous trump cards. In the end, he'd narrowly escaped death and obtained a great inheritance. He'd cultivated the Dark Tao insight to the third level of the Heavenly Tao realm and comprehended an extremely formidable earthly grade Tao skill. This was also the reason why he firmly believed that Yi Chunfeng had died in the most difficult test. He absolutely did not believe that Yi Chunfeng, who was only a level 6 mystic beast ancestor, had the strength to pass the most difficult test and obtain the highest inheritance. But now Yi Chunfeng's godlike appearance gave him a heavy blow, causing his arrogant and complacent heart to suffer a heavy blow. A strong sense of unease arose in his heart. No, I have to leave this place as soon as possible. Thoughts of retreating sprouted in Songbing Shan's heart. He gave up on the idea of killing Jian Chen and decisively condensed several speed shadows to escape from ancient Sky City. Where do you think you're going? Gan Wuxin, whose aura had been locked onto him, discovered that Songbing Shan had suddenly condensed the Tao of Shadow to escape. 20 blade Tao patterns quickly condensed and turned into a 10-meter-long giant blade that slashed out with shocking destructive power. Tao of Darkness, break for me! Facing Gan Wuxin's attack, Songbing Shan, who was extremely fast, did not dodge. 30 dark Tao patterns quickly condensed and turned into a pitch-black hand that directly crushed the giant blade and swallowed the wanton blade intent, forcing Gan Wuxin to retreat. Junior, leave your life behind. Seeing Grey Ice Mountain breaking out of the encirclement, Daoist Jianling, who was a grade 6 defiant beast king with an astonishing attack power, rushed over. He launched a series of attacks, intertwining with several resplendent sword lights, which tore through the void like mercury and enveloped Grey Ice Mountain. Daoist Jianling was known for his offensive power. When he unleashed a full power attack, it was extremely powerful. The sharp sword intent made Green Ice Mountain feel a sense of danger. However, compared to the threat of Daoist Jianling, Grey Ice Mountain felt that Yi Chunfeng posed a greater threat to him. Without slowing down, he charged forward. Vast dark erosion. Songbing Shan let out a roar and unleashed the powerful technique that he had comprehended in the ancient heavenly palace, which was comparable to a mid-grade Tao skill, to meet the sharp sword light unleashed by Daoist Jianling Boom. The two powerful attacks collided with each other. The intense repulsion caused boundless void light to shine out. The powerful force tore the void apart, riddling it with holes. What? Daoist Jianling originally thought that with his full force attack, even if he was unable to severely injure Grey Ice Mountain, he would at least be able to force him to retreat. But after the fight, he was shocked to find that the vast dark erosion created by the 30 Tao patterns of dark Tao kept swallowing his attacks, forcibly creating a gap in his attacks. Just as he was hesitating, Grey Ice Mountain turned into a streak of light and flashed before his eyes. He flew out of the ancient heavenly city at an extremely fast speed, wanting to pass through the life gate of the 9E9 Extremes formation and escape. Stop him with all your strength. Don't let him escape. Daoist Jianling, who had regained his senses, roared and loudly ordered. However, Grey Ice Mountain, who had obtained a great opportunity and broken through to the 5th grade Defiant Beast King realm, was simply too terrifying. Even the combined attacks of Xue Tianqi, the Flowing Cloud Sect Master, and the Qian clan's patriarch were unable to stop him. Vast dark erosion break. The 30 condensed Dao patterns of dark Dao erupted once again. Like a boundless river, they tore apart the attacks of Shui Tianqi and the others. Gray Ice Mountain, leave your life behind. Using the Wind Dao will, Jianchen, who was like a wind blade that cut through the sky, intercepted Gray Ice Mountain. The interweaving sword light enveloped him. Jianchen, do you really think that I'm afraid of you? With a gloomy expression, Gray Ice Mountain continuously unleashed his Dao will of dark and swallowed the sword light created by Jianchen. If you're not afraid, then let's fight. Unbounded sword Dao. Jianchen, who was moving at high speed, instantly fused with the killing sword of calamity. He used the sword move that he had comprehended in the ancient heavenly palace and stabbed towards Gray Ice Mountain. The sword pierced forward, and the astonishing will of the sword seemed to tear the sky apart. As far as the eye could see, there was only one shocking sword left in the world. It carried with it a thunderous roar as it bombarded the Green Ice Mountain. Vast dark erosion. Sensing the terror of Jianchen's sword, Gray Ice Mountain's potential was unleashed. He tightly gripped the demon sealing saber with both hands. Like a black wave churning in the sky, he heavily collided with the sword. Rumble! The moment the two Dao skills collided, dense water ripples appeared in a radius of several kilometers, surging like wave. Endless Dao patterns of sword and Dao patterns of dark clashed in the air, tearing apart space. Thump! Jianchen, don't let me see you again in the future, or I'll kill you. Gray Ice Mountain, do you think you can leave this place alive? At this moment, an ethereal and sharp voice filled with killing intent resounded in Gray Ice Mountain's ears. Hearing Yi Qinfeng's voice, Gray Ice Mountain felt even more uneasy. This uneasiness seemed to be deeply embedded in his soul, unable to be dispelled. Yi Qinfeng, don't be so arrogant. Sooner or later, I'll trample you beneath my feet. Gray Ice Mountain gnashed his teeth. That day won't come. With that, Yi Qinfeng ignited his golden rock wings and increased his flying speed. Like a golden streak of light, he directly blocked Gray Ice Mountain's path. You can go to hell for me. The moment Yi Qinfeng blocked Gray Ice Mountain's path, Gray Ice Mountain's body fused with the demon sealing saber. With an indestructible saber intent, he slashed towards Yi Qinfeng at close range. Facing Gray Ice Mountain's attack, Yi Qinfeng didn't dodge, nor did he summon his ruler armament to resist. Instead, he only extended a finger to meet the attack. Yi Qinfeng, be careful. Gray Ice Mountain has cultivated the Tao of Darkness to the third heavenly layer. His attack power is extremely terrifying. Jianchen, Gan Wuxin, and the others were also frightened by Yi Qinfeng's action. Too late. Yi Qinfeng, I'll make you pay a painful price for your foolish actions. Gray Ice Mountain didn't think that Yi Qinfeng would be so arrogant, only using a single finger to meet the attack. His eyes shot out a cold light as large amounts of Tao of Darkness fused into the demon sealing saber. He wanted to cut off Yi Qinfeng's finger and kill him. In the blink of an eye, Yi Qinfeng tapped the demon sealing saber, which was comparable to a superior-grade heaven artifact and contained 3 heavenly Tao inscriptions, on the surface of the demon sealing saber, which was filled with dark Tao inscriptions. To everyone's surprise, Yi Qinfeng's finger wasn't cut off by the demon sealing saber. Instead, the Tao of Darkness within the demon sealing saber shattered. Gray Ice Mountain felt an unimaginable power pass through the demon sealing saber and into his arm, causing his arm to go numb. The demon sealing saber was almost sent flying by Yi Qinfeng's finger. In the next moment, Yi Qinfeng appeared in front of the shocked Gray Ice Mountain. Like a hot knife through butter, his finger pierced through Gray Ice Mountain's defenses and penetrated his mid-grade heaven artifact. PFFF. Along with an ear-piercing cracking sound, Gray Ice Mountain was sent flying by Yi Qinfeng's finger. He spat out a mouthful of blood and flew backwards, landing heavily on the ground. You can't even block a single finger of mine. What right do you have to kill me? Yi Chunfeng stood straight like a steel spear. His gaze was as cold as ice as he looked at Gray Ice Mountain, who was spitting out blood and had a pale face. Mobile reading site, book address. To make it easier for you to read this book next time, you can click the Save button at the bottom to record this book. You will be able to see it the next time you open your bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 450. Strong, too strong. Seeing Yi Chunfeng break Song Bingshan's full power attack with a single finger and send him flying, everyone present was stunned. The unparalleled Song Bingshan couldn't even stop a single finger from Yi Chunfeng. This strange scene made everyone feel as if they were in a dream. Chun, what kind of great fortune did Chunfeng obtain in the ancient Heaven Palace? How did his strength increase so much? Shui Piaoling covered her mouth tightly to prevent herself from shouting, but the scene of Yi Chunfeng sending Song Bingshan flying with a single finger kept flashing in her mind. She couldn't help but admit that Yi Chunfeng's strength had already left her far behind. Monster, this Yi Chunfeng is definitely a monster. Jian Chun and Gan Wuxin glanced at each other and saw the shock in each other's eyes. Their arrogant hearts were completely subdued by Yi Chunfeng's strength. Impossible, how can he be so strong? Grasping his chest that had been pierced by Yi Chunfeng's finger, Song Bingshan felt a fear that came from the depths of his soul take hold of his soul. All of his pride had been trampled by Yi Chunfeng until it was riddled with holes. Song Bingshan, if your strength is only like this, then your life can end now. Yi Chunfeng looked down at Song Bingshan, whose face had turned red, and whose clothes were dyed red with blood, and coldly said, Yi Chunfeng, I'll kill you. Song Bingshan was like a wounded wolf, letting out an uncontrollable roar. His jet-black hair fluttered in the wind as if he had gone mad. Crack! Song Bingshan extended his bloody right hand and crushed a yin-yang ring. Immediately 2 3-meter-tall puppets appeared. Their bodies were covered in thick black scales. Their arms were as thick as water buckets and were filled with explosive muscles. They held huge dragon-headed blades and emitted a dense demonic aura. They had the strength of a 6th-rank beast king. And these 2 demonic spirit puppets were Song Bingshan's 2 trump cards, and the reason why he dared to stay in ancient Sky City alone. With the protection of these 2 devil spirit puppets, Shui Tianqi and the others would have a hard time killing him. Chunfeng, be careful. They are devil spirit puppets refined by the Western Devil sect using real devil cultivators. Their attack and defense are excellent and they only know how to kill. They are extremely terrifying. Shui Piaoling's expression changed slightly when she saw the 2 devil soul puppets summoned by Green Ice Mountain. She immediately shouted. At the Heavenly Snow Lake, Daoist Jianling and the others also wanted to help Yi Chunfeng defend against the enemy. The instant Ice Sky Mountain summoned the Devil Soul puppet. Don't attack. I'll deal with him. Although the 2 Devil Soul puppets in front of him were very frightening, they did not pose any threat to the current Yi Chunfeng. He controlled the Life Dao pattern to repair the meridians in his arm that were shattered by the 3 Heaven Dao patterns. He walked towards the 2 Devil Spirit puppets step by step. Devil Soul puppets, kill him for me. Green Ice Mountain quickly consumed several precious Heaven-class soul elixirs. He glared at Yi Chunfeng and roared at the top of his lungs. Roar! Roar! The 2 Devil Soul puppets let out inhuman roars. They wielded the powerful dragon head sabers and swept up a terrifying saber wind as they slashed at Yi Chunfeng. Golden Rock Bloodline, ignite! Yi Chunfeng suddenly ignited the Golden Rock Bloodline and instantly raised his speed to the peak. He dodged the dragon head sabers and approached the 2 Devil Soul puppet. 5 million kilograms of force. The power of the 3 spirit pearls burst out at the same time. Yi Chunfeng blasted out a shocking fist light that wanted to shatter the sky. He ruthlessly blasted on the 2 Devil Soul puppets that had extremely fearsome defenses. Katja, after receiving Yi Qianfeng's fist strike that had condensed 5 million kilograms of force to the extreme, the scales on the chest of the two devil soul puppets were immediately shattered. The powerful force was like a surging tide, as it surged into their bodies and sent them flying. "Both of you, come at me." The moment the two devil soul puppets were sent flying by Yi Qianfeng, he quickly took a step forward and grabbed the ankles of the two devil soul puppets. He pulled them over and ruthlessly threw them to the ground. Heavenly Tao pattern, break. Following that, Yi Qianfeng condensed two heavenly Tao patterns and filled his fist. They fused with 5 million kilograms of force and ruthlessly bombarded the heads of the two devil soul puppets. Bang! Bang! The heads of the two devil soul puppets exploded. The energy in their bodies receded like the tide and disappeared without a trace. It's over. The two devil soul puppets that were comparable to a rank 6 defiant beast king and had a defense that was close to a mid-grade heaven artifact had lost their battle strength, just like that. Looking at the two shattered devil soul puppets, Daoist Jianling and the others were once again shaken by Yi Qianfeng's astonishing attack power. They were curious about what kind of opportunity he had obtained in the ancient heaven palace. In just a few days, his battle strength had actually increased to such a terrifying level. Song Bingshan, if you have any other methods, use them all. Otherwise, I'm afraid you won't have another chance. After forcefully defeating the two devil soul puppets, Yi Qianfeng once again cast his gaze towards the pale-faced and trembling Song Bingshan. He spoke with a cold, killing intent. "Yi Qianfeng, I admit that you are stronger than I imagined. However, it's useless no matter how strong you are. Trapped in this 9E9 extreme formation, you will be refined to death by this 9E energy sooner or later. And if you are willing to let me go, I am willing to tell you the location of this 9E9 extreme formation's life gate." When he met Yi Qianfeng's ice-cold eyes, Song Bingshan felt an intense fear and unease in his heart. He was unwilling to let all of his efforts go to waste, and he was even more unwilling to lose his life here, so he spoke in a somewhat submissive manner. "Are you done speaking? If you are, then I'll send you to the Western Paradise." Yi Qianfeng was unmoved. He was determined to kill Song Bingshan. "Yi Qianfeng, the power of this 9E9 extreme formation is not something you can imagine. Once this ancient heavenly formation is broken, you will have no chance of survival," Song Bingshan said somewhat frantically. "Song Bingshan, your current performance has greatly disappointed me. A person like you who fears death is not worthy of stepping onto the peak of the martial path. It's better for you to die early and reincarnate." Looking at Song Bingshan, who he had once viewed as a rival, Yi Qianfeng shook his head disappointedly. Yi Qianfeng's words were like a knife that stabbed into the weakest part of Song Bingshan's heart. It made him go crazy, it made him angry, and it made him feel even more ashamed. Five-headed snake bloodline ignition, blood chi ignition. Devil sealing saber, unseal strength. Song Bingshan shouted. He no longer begged for mercy. He continuously used his strongest trump cards to increase his strength to the greatest extent. This was his final gamble. After increasing his strength to the limit, Song Bingshan gripped the devil-sealing saber tightly with both hands. 30 dark Tao patterns crazily fused into it, maximizing the devil-sealing saber's power. Dark erosion boundless. The saber slashed out like a boundless river. The devil-sealing saber swept across the sky and ruthlessly slashed towards Yi Qianfeng, wanting to force him to retreat. 7 swords of judgment, eclipse. Song Bingshan used his strongest attack, and Yi Qianfeng decisively countered it. A scarlet sword light that was like the scorching sun carried an unstoppable sword aura. It slowly rose from his body and tore through space, slashing towards the devil-sealing saber. Rumble. The moment the two Tao skills collided, there was a deafening explosion. In just a breath's time, the eclipse sword that was filled with 3 heavenly Tao patterns and 20 sword Tao patterns broke through the 30 dark Tao patterns. It tore apart the devil-sealing saber, and under Tsang Bingshan's horrified gaze, it slashed into his body. Bang! Tsang Bingshan's body defense was broken. Half of his body turned into minced meat, splattering all over the ground. Swish! A glaring sword light flashed in front of Tsang Bingshan. Before he could react, it pierced through his head. Under his unresigned, desperate, fearful, and regretful gaze, Tsang Bingshan's head was blasted apart by Yi Qinfeng's sword. His broken corpse fell into a pool of blood. The Western continent's absolute genius, Tsang Bingshan, who pursued the supreme Tao, breathed his last. Yunlei Public Accounts. Everyone can search for Yunlei Tian Yu on the public account to join. When everything is stable, the public account will release Yu Nichang's photo. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the bookmark button below to record this reading. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 451. He's dead. Tsang Bingshan is dead. Seeing the insufferably arrogant Tsang Bingshan lying motionlessly in a pool of blood with his head separated from his body, everyone's hearts were in turmoil once again. They were completely shocked by Yi Qinfeng's strength. Just as everyone had yet to recover from their shock, a deafening explosion suddenly rang out in the sky. After enduring the fierce attacks of the 9E9 extreme formation for over 20 days, the ancient heavenly formation was about to collapse. Its foundation was greatly damaged, and visible cracks appeared on the surface of the ancient heavenly formation. Not good, the ancient heavenly formation is about to break. Seeing more and more cracks on the ancient heavenly array, Shui Tianqi, Daoist Jianling, and the others came back to their senses. Once the ancient heavenly array was broken, they would be refined to death by the extremely powerful ancient demon array, the 9E9 extreme array. Qingfeng, do you have a way to find the life gate of the 9E9 extreme formation? Thinking of Yi Qinfeng's decisiveness when rejecting Tsang Bingshan, Shui Piaoling suddenly felt a sliver of hope. She looked at Yi Qinfeng, who had created miracles time and time again, and asked, "Everyone, don't panic. I have a way to break this 9E9 extreme formation. Everyone wait for me here." Yi Qinfeng said with a confident smile. "Yi Qinfeng, do you need me to help you?" Jian Chen, who was completely convinced by Yi Qinfeng's strength, walked up to Yi Qinfeng and asked softly, "All right, come with me." With that, Yi Qinfeng brought Jian Chen to the gates of ancient heavenly city. With a thought, he summoned the space-swallowing bug. What kind of bug is this? Looking at the foot-long, pitch-black space-swallowing bug covered in sharp teeth in Yi Qinfeng's hand, Jian Chen asked with some surprise. Space-swallowing bug. It can devour spatial restrictions. With that, Yi Qinfeng gave the space-swallowing bug an order to devour space. Upon receiving Yi Qinfeng's order, the highly intelligent space swallower turned into a beam of light and stuck to the extremely strong formation wall of the 9E9 Extremes formation. It opened its mouth full of sharp teeth and quickly swallowed the formation wall. The 9E9 Extremes formation wall that had withstood the ferocious attacks of Shui Tianqi and the others for more than 20 days started to show dense water ripples. The space-swallowing bugs bit by bit and swallowed them into their stomach. In less than 10 breaths of time, the space-swallowing bug, with its extremely fast devouring speed, had bitten a huge hole in the 9E9 Extremes formation wall. Let's go. Yi Qinfeng stored the space-swallower bug in his cosmos ring and quickly passed through the rapidly shrinking formation wall with Jian Chen, easily leaving ancient Sky City. Phew, the ancient heavenly array is finally about to be broken. Seeing more and more cracks on the ancient heavenly array, Bing Qingchuan's tense face finally revealed a smile. He was looking forward to the scene of Bing Tianqi and the others being refined to death by the 9E9 extreme array. However, there was not the slightest trace of a smile on the face of the black-clothed old man in charge. Instead, he revealed a very heavy expression. Clearly, without any news from Grey Ice Mountain for more than 20 days, he felt a trace of unease. Don't worry, Elder Ming, with Grey Ice Mountain's strength and the life-saving methods Sect Master gave him, even if Shui Tianqi and Daoist Jian Ling work together, they won't be able to kill him. Seeing the worried black-clothed old man, Bing Qingchuan advised. I hope so. If something happens to Grey Ice Mountain, even if we kill ourselves on the spot, it will still be difficult to appease the Sect Master's anger. The black-robed old man was fully aware of the significance of Blue Ice Mountain to the Western Devil Sect. If there were no accidents, even if Blue Ice Mountain couldn't become the Sect Master of the Western Devil Sect in the future, he would definitely become the Great Elder of the sect in the future. Continue to use the blood of living people to increase the power of the 9E9 Extreme Array. I want to break the ancient heavenly array as soon as possible and refine them to death. The black-clothed old man took out a communication bead and savagely ordered. Just as the black-clothed old man gave the order, suddenly, several painful howls came from the foot of the ancient heavenly mountain, alarming the black-clothed old man, Bing Qingchuan and the others. What's going on? The black-clothed old man and Bing Qingchuan's expression slightly changed as they felt a trace of suspicion. They immediately cast their gazes towards the lush mountain forest. Swish, swish, swish. Two ear-piercing sounds rang out as Yi Chunfeng and Jian Chen killed more than 10 Ice Palace and Snake Valley experts who were lying in ambush in the forest. They were like two murderous swords as they flew out and stabbed towards the black-clothed old man and Bing Qingchuan. Not good. How did they come out? Seeing Yi Chunfeng and Jian Chen rapidly flying over, Bing Qingchuan's expression greatly changed as he revealed a trace of fear. Great demon-slaying dragon blade. The black-clothed old man didn't reveal a trace of panic. He decisively merged with his spiritual beast and wielded a low-grade Dao artifact battle blade. He slashed out a terrifying demonic dragon-like blade light towards the two of them. He wanted to rely on his powerful strength to capture the two of them and interrogate them about the whereabouts of Grey Ice Mountain. Yi Chunfeng, leave him to me. Jian Chen's flying speed suddenly skyrocketed as 30 sword-type Dao patterns shot out from his body and gathered in the killing sword of calamity. He stabbed the demon-slaying dragon blade with an unstoppable force. Crack! With a crisp cracking sound, the demon-slaying dragon blade directly shattered under the attack of the 30 sword-type Dao patterns. After piercing through the demon-slaying dragon blade, Jian Chen's attack didn't slow down at all. He stabbed towards the black-clothed old man whose expression had greatly changed, forcing him to dodge with all his might. Bing Qingchuan, where are you planning to go? When Jian Chen forced the black-clothed old man back, Yi Chunfeng appeared in front of the fleeing Bing Qingchuan in a flash. He stopped him and asked coldly, "Go to hell for me." The appearance of Yi Chunfeng and Jian Chen was just too strange, causing Bing Qingchuan to feel extremely uneasy. He quickly used the Ice Palace's inherited Dao skill in an attempt to force Yi Chunfeng back and flee. Ice Dragon Destruction, Bing Qingchuan bellowed. His soul force and the meaning of ways he comprehended surged out, turning into a lifelike ice dragon. It roared at Yi Chunfeng and slammed towards him murderously. 3 million kilograms. Break. Facing Bing Qingchuan's Dao skill, Yi Chunfeng didn't use any soul skills or Dao intent. Instead, he used his powerful physical strength to receive it. Boom. Yi Chunfeng's fist, which had been compressed to the extreme, smashed into the ice dragon formed by the Dao technique. Like a surging tide, the power penetrated the ice dragon, shattering it and breaking Bing Qingchuan's strongest Dao technique. Bing Qingchuan, it's time for us to settle our enmity. Yi Chunfeng looked at Bing Qingchuan with murderous intent. He appeared in front of Bing Qingchuan as if he had teleported. His fist, which contained 3 million kilograms of force, smashed into Bing Qingchuan's chest, shattering his defense and sending him flying into the air. Boom! Bing Qingchuan couldn't handle Yi Qinfeng's punch and exploded in the air, turning into a pile of flesh and blood that scattered on the ground. Yi Qinfeng exploded Bing Qingchuan with one punch. Jian Chen, who had 30 sword Dao runes, used an overwhelming advantage to heavily injure the black-robed old man. Jian Chen, don't kill him. Spare his life. The black-robed old man still had value. Yi Qinfeng shouted at Jian Chen. Hearing Yi Qinfeng's voice, Jian Chen withdrew his killing move. In an instant, he stabbed 5 times, piercing the black-robed old man's limbs and heart, turning him into a cripple. He weakly fell into a pool of blood and painfully struggled. Mobile reading site, book address. In order to make it easier for you to read this book next time, you can click Save at the bottom to record this book. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 452. Jian Chen, I'll leave the others to you. I'll search his soul and see how to break the 9E9 extreme formation. Yi Qinfeng appeared beside Jian Chen in a flash. No problem. Jian Chen happily agreed. His body flashed and he turned into a sharp wind blade as he charged into the crowd. He was like a god of death as he crazily reaped the lives of the experts from the Ice Palace, Snake Valley, and the Western Demon Sect. Tell me, what happened to Tsang Shan? The black-robed old man lying in a pool of blood stared at the cold and expressionless Yi Qinfeng with his blood-red eyes as he weakly asked. Tsang Shan is already dead. Yi Qinfeng coldly said. Impossible, Tsang Shan was a peak genius of the Western continent. He also had a life-saving trump card from the sect master. There's no way he's dead. The black-robed old man clenched his bloody fists tightly as he shouted in disbelief. So what if he was a peak genius of the Western continent? In the end, he was just a frog at the bottom of a well. Although Tsang Shan's talent was extraordinary, there was still a huge gap between him and the peak geniuses of the Duhan continent. Not to mention, there was still the illusory heaven domain above the Duhan continent. Compared to those geniuses of the heaven domain who were born with golden spoons in their mouths and received peak inheritances from a young age, let alone Tsang Shan, even Yi Qinfeng felt the pressure. Chaos Divine Beast, I know you're awake. Help me search his soul. Yi Qinfeng didn't waste any words with the black-robed old man. He mentally called out to the Chaos Divine Beast that was healing and cultivating in the Chaos Divine Tree. I'm still heavily injured and you want me to do manual labor again. The primal Chaos Divine Beast curled its lips and grumbled softly. However, it did not dare to disobey Yi Qinfeng's order. It released its powerful soul energy and penetrated into the mind of the black-robed old man. While the black-robed old man was howling in pain, it forcefully searched his soul. After about half an incense stick's worth of time, the Chaos Divine Beast withdrew its soul force and said, Boss, what do you want to know from this old man's soul? I want to know how to break the 9E9 extreme formation as well as the Western Demon Sect's true goal and movement. Yi Qinfeng slowly said. This 9E9 extreme array has 9 great array bases. As long as the 9 great array bases are broken, the 9E9 extreme array will collapse on its own. However, in order to increase the power of the 9E9 extreme array, they captured tens of thousands of civilians nearby and threw them into the 9 array bases to increase their power. And the true goal of the Western Demon Sect is not the ancient Heaven City martial competition. Instead, it is to destroy the Misty Mountain and seize the great opportunity within the Misty Immortal Realm, said the primal Chaos Divine Beast. Hundun, among the experts that attacked Misty Mountain, were there any Emperor-level experts? After obtaining the Heavenly Dao inheritance in the ancient Heaven Palace and increasing his bloodline power, Yi Qinfeng's strength had reached a terrifying level. Even if he encountered a peak 6th rank defiant Beast King, he could rely on the power of the Heavenly Dao to fight. However, The difference in strength between a peerless king warrior and an emperor-level warrior was like heaven and earth. Once an emperor-level warrior transformed into a beast soul form, killing a peerless king warrior would be like killing a chicken. Yes, the Western Demon Sect's sect master is a first-rank battle beast emperor. Other than him, among the experts that attacked Misty Mountain, there were 2 half-step emperors. The primal chaos divine beast nodded. There really are emperors. Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath. He felt a bit troubled. Unless he used the life spirit art, even if he borrowed the power of the heavenly Tao, it would be very difficult for him to contend against an emperor-level expert, let alone 2 half-step emperors. However, there wasn't much spring of life left. Yi Chunfeng could only use the life spirit art once at most. AI, let's break this 9E9 extreme array first. Yi Chunfeng sighed softly. He arrived before the black-robed old man and used the soul-devouring art to devour his spiritual beast. He plundered his belongings and ended his life. Then, he rushed to the 9 pillars of blood scattered around the foot of the mountain. At this moment, Jian Chen mercilessly killed close to 100 experts of the 3 organizations with his Way of Wind and Way of the Sword. Even the first disciple of the Ice Palace, Polar Sea, who had admitted defeat in humiliation, was unable to escape from Jian Chen. He died to his sharp sword. At this moment, the foot of the mountain was covered in blood and broken bodies. The smell of blood in the air was nauseating. Jian Chen, kill them all. Leave no one alive. Yi Chunfeng never showed mercy to his enemies, let alone an executioner whose hands were stained with the blood of commoners. Don't worry, none of them will be able to escape. Jian Chen nodded and said mercilessly. He continued to slaughter the panicking experts of the 3 organizations, slaughtering them madly. As Jian Chen slaughtered, Yi Chunfeng arrived beside a pillar of blood that shot into the sky. He looked at the pillar of blood that shot into the clouds like a blood dragon, entering the 9E9 extreme formation. Wielding his king armament, he slashed at it. Flying Immortal Sword. 20 sword and lightning Tao patterns fused into the ruler armament. A shocking sword light tore through the sky and viciously slashed at the pillar of blood. Buzz buzz. Facing Yi Chunfeng's full-strength attack, the pillar of blood violently trembled. The crazily surging blood light directly shattered the flying immortal sword. What powerful strength! Yi Chunfeng had already expected that the pillar of blood wouldn't be so easily destroyed. However, he wasn't discouraged and used heavenly energy for his second attack. 3 heavenly Tao patterns attack. With the current strength of Yi Chunfeng's body, he could control 3 heavenly Tao patterns at most. If he controlled one more, his body wouldn't be able to withstand it and would collapse. Swish, swish. The 3 runes of heavenly Tao tore through space, slicing through everything. They directly entered the towering blood pillar filled with powerful energy, piercing 3 large holes in it. A large number of cracks spread across the surface of the towering blood pillar. 7 swords of judgment eclipse. Just as the pillar of blood violently shook, Yi Chunfeng's entire body soared into the air. The eclipse sword that had fused with many types of energy possessed shocking destructive power as it cut through the cracked pillar of blood. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Golden Rock Bloodline, increase speed. Seeing the pillar of blood explode, Yi Chunfeng decisively ignited his Golden Rock Bloodline and raised his speed to the limit. He appeared 10,000 meters away in the blink of an eye. Boom! An earth-shattering explosion rang out as more and more cracks appeared. The pillar of blood that had been completely ignited had exploded. The powerful energy directly destroyed the space within a radius of several kilometers, creating a huge crater that was several hundred meters deep in the ground. After successfully destroying a pillar of blood, the 9E9 extreme formation was immediately greatly affected. Its power was greatly reduced, alleviating the pressure on the ancient heavenly formation. At this moment, Yi Chunfeng's body flashed and he flew to the side of another pillar of blood. He used the same move and used his full strength to destroy the second pillar of blood with the help of the heavenly Tao patterns. As the pillars of blood were destroyed by Yi Qinfeng, the 9E9 extreme formation's power rapidly decreased. In the end, it was pierced through by the ancient heavenly formation, Jian Chen Dodge. With the 9E9 extreme formation destroyed, the remaining 4 pillars of blood began to crack. Yi Qinfeng quickly appeared beside Jian Chen, who was mercilessly slaughtering, and retreated several tens of thousands of meters away. Boom! The moment Yi Qinfeng and Jian Chen retreated, the remaining 4 pillars of blood exploded together. The powerful energy caused the entire ancient heavenly mountain to violently tremble as if the end of the world had arrived. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the bookmark button below to record this reading. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 453. It's broken. The 9E9 extreme array was really broken by Qingfeng. Hearing the loud explosion and seeing the 9E9 extreme array disappear into the horizon, Xue Piaoling and the rest let out a long sigh of relief and revealed a trace of excitement. Sect Master Xue, what is the background of this Yi Qinfeng? Taoist Jian Ling and the rest were filled with curiosity towards Yi Qinfeng's background. They wanted to know what kind of power could nurture such a shocking monster. I heard from Piaoling that Qingfeng was born as a mortal and did not have any great background. He was able to reach where he is today all because of his own hard work. Xue Tianqi slowly said. What mortal background? Taoist Jian Ling and the rest looked at each other, not daring to believe what they had just heard. Ji Qingxue and Bai Xiao, who were in the crowd, saw the shocked expressions of Taoist Jian Ling and the rest and felt a sense of pride. However, as the gap between their strength continued to widen, they knew that their hopes had turned into wishful thinking. They were no longer people of the same world as Yi Qinfeng. When I first found out about his background, I was also very shocked. However, it is indeed true. Xue Tianqi continued to speak when he saw the doubtful and shocked expressions of Taoist Jian Ling and the rest. Sect Master Xue, with this person joining your Misty Mountain, it is enough to guarantee 10,000 years of prosperity. Taoist Jian Ling said with some envy. Sigh, I do not wish for 10,000 years of prosperity. I only wish that my Misty Mountain can survive this calamity. Thinking about the current situation of Misty Mountain, Xue Tianqi sighed softly and said worriedly, Don't worry, Sect Master Xue. The Western Devil Sect is our common enemy. We will accompany you to Misty Mountain to deal with them. Qian family's patriarch Qian Wentian was the first to express his stance. That's right. We will not allow the Northern Spirit region to be invaded by the Western Devil Sect. I will also remove the Ice Palace and Snake Valley from the Northern Spirit region. Taoist Jian Ling nodded and said angrily. Just as they were speaking, Yi Qinfeng and Jian Chen flew over at an extremely fast speed and met up with the rest. Qingfeng, our Misty Mountain is being besieged by the top forces of the Western continent led by the Western Demon Sect. Are you willing to come with us to help? Xue Piaoling looked at Yi Qinfeng with burning eyes and asked him softly. Yes. Yi Qinfeng nodded and said without hesitation. Then there's no time to lose. Let's go. Hearing Yi Qinfeng's firm answer, Xue Piaoling revealed a faint smile. After saying that, Xue Piaoling and the others each summoned dozens of huge flying heavenly beasts and rushed to the Misty Mountain that was shrouded by the haze and the wind and rain. Grand Elder, my Misty Mountain's sect protecting array is about to be broken. What should we do? Seeing that the sect protecting Great Formation was unable to withstand the ferocious attacks of the Western Demon Sect and the other powers and was filled with cracks, the third elder who had stayed behind to guard the Misty Mountain immediately found Xue Songqin, who was overseeing the Misty Mountain, and said anxiously, Be prepared to activate the teleportation circle at any time. Once the sect protecting Great Formation is broken, immediately teleport the young disciples of the Misty Mountain out. The rest will follow me and fight to the end. Xue Songqin's expression was grave and stern as she sat on the Misty Mountain's main seat and said in a deep voice, "Fight to the end." Hearing Xue Songqin's words, many of the Misty Mountain's elders and protectors who were not mentally strong turned pale. In front of such a huge disparity in strength, there was only one outcome for fighting to the end, and that was death. Many of them even had thoughts of betrayal. The shattered sect protecting Great Formation lasted for another half a day before finally being unable to withstand the ferocious attacks of the Western Demon Sect and the other powers. Activate the teleportation circle and teleport the young disciples of the Misty Mountain away. Protect the last of the Misty Mountain's bloodline. The moment the sect protecting Great Formation was broken, Xue Songqin, who was holding the dragon-headed walking stick, immediately flew out of the Misty Mountain's main hall. She took out her communication pearl and gave the order loudly. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Just as Xue Songqin's voice fell, the Misty Mountain shot out rays of teleportation light. After exhausting all the teleportation stones, more than 200 young disciples with decent potential were teleported out of the Misty Mountain and fled for their lives. Xue Songqin, good method. I didn't expect your Misty Mountain to have stored so many teleportation stones. The moment more than 200 young disciples were teleported out of the Misty Mountain, a black figure tore through the air and appeared at the Misty Mountain's main peak at an astonishing speed. Mo Fengyun, you really came. Xue Songqin could not help but reveal a solemn expression as she looked at the middle-aged man who wore a black robe with cloud patterns and a pair of snakeskin boots. His facial features were chiseled as if they were carved with a knife. His eyes were emitting cold stars, and his awe-inspiring body emitted a domineering aura that could shake the world. Mo Fengyun was the sect master of the Western Demon Sect, the #1 person in the Western continent, a rank 1 combat beast emperor expert. Xue Songqin, if you all give up resisting and obediently open the Misty Paradise, I can make the decision to not kill you all. Mo Fengyun placed his hands behind his back and looked down at Xue Songqin and the other experts of the Misty Mountain, as he said tyrannically. Don't even think about it. Even if we fight to the end, we won't let you all taint the Misty Paradise. Xue Songqin snorted coldly and said with no fear of death. Xue Songqin, your lifespan is coming to an end. Naturally, you don't fear death. However, they have a lot of time to squander and even have the possibility of breaking through to the Emperor realm. Isn't it too cruel to let them accompany you to the underworld? Mo Fengyun said with a deep voice. His invincible aura gave people the feeling that he was the master of the world, and that everything was under his control. Mo Fengyun, you don't have to bewitch us. We were born as people of the Misty Mountain, and we will die as ghosts of the Misty Mountain. We swear to live and die with the Misty Mountain. Xue Songqin snorted coldly and replied domineeringly. As they spoke, the experts of the Western Devil Sect flew over and appeared behind Mo Fengyun. Their terrifying auras made the elders and protectors of the Misty Mountain feel suffocated. Their souls trembled. Is that really the case? Mo Fengyun's lips curled up slightly. His sharp gaze swept over the elders and protectors of the Misty Mountain, and he said in a deep voice, If any of you are willing to submit to my Western Devil Sect, not only will I spare your lives, I will also let you join my Western Devil Sect. You will have the same status as the Misty Mountain. As soon as Mo Fengyun finished speaking, the hearts of many elders and protectors of the Misty Mountain who weren't firm enough wavered. However, without anyone taking the lead, they didn't dare to take the lead. They suppressed the impulse in their hearts and waited. What? You don't believe in my promise? Mo Fengyun's gaze suddenly became sharp. His aura suddenly increased by several times. An unparalleled battle intent spread out from his body and enveloped more than 20 elders and protectors of the Misty Mountain. Sensing the terrifying aura from Mo Fengyun, The elders and protectors of the Misty Mountain felt like mice seeing a cat. Even their breathing became difficult. I will ask you one last time. Are you willing to submit to my Western Devil sect? This is your last chance to live. If you miss it, don't blame me for not giving you another chance. Mo Fengyun looked down at the elders and protectors of the Misty Mountain, whose eyes were shining, and issued an ultimatum. I am willing to submit to the Western Devil sect. Because his grandson was killed by Yi Chenfeng, the third protector, Gao Zhongyan, who had always been resentful of the Misty Mountain, clenched his teeth and was the first to step forward. He quickly walked towards Mo Fengyun and the others. I am also willing. With Gao Zhongyan taking the lead, several elders and protectors of the Misty Mountain, who were afraid of death, chose to betray the Misty Mountain and followed Gao Zhongyan to the side of Mo Fengyun and the others. Soon, 9 out of the 20 elders and protectors of the Misty Mountain chose to betray the Misty Mountain. Xue Songqin was so angry that her face turned ashen. She couldn't help but tremble. Gao Zhongyan, you traitors! Xue Songqin glared at Gao Zhongyan and the others and coldly said, From today onwards, Gao Zhongyan and the others will be the mortal enemies of my Misty Mountain. If we encounter them, we will kill them without mercy. Sect Master Mo, please protect us. Seeing Xue Songqin and the others' cold gazes, Gao Zhongyan and the others were terrified. A layer of cold sweat appeared on their foreheads, and they immediately asked Mo Fengyun for help. Ha ha ha, Xue Songqin, do you still not understand your situation? After today, the Northern Spirit region will no longer have Misty Mountain. Mo Fengyun laughed loudly and arrogantly said, Misty Mountain's calamity had arrived. Mobile reading website, book address. In order to make it easier for you to read this book next time, you can click Save at the bottom to record this book. Next time you open the bookshelf, you will see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 454. Leave Mo Fengyun and the rest to me. Don't get caught up in the battle. Use all your strength to break through the back mountain. Use the Misty Barrier to leave Misty Mountain as soon as possible. Xue Songqin's stooped body suddenly straightened up, and the aura she emitted also became fierce. She sent a voice transmission to him. A four-winged spiritual beast, the four-winged sky sparrow, appeared on her body. When it flapped its wings, it set off gusts of wind. Xue Songqin had never thought of sacrificing anyone. She said that because she wanted to get rid of the dissident. Only then would Misty Mountain have the hope of rising again. Grand Elder, you, the third elder, and the rest did not expect Xue Songqin to sacrifice herself to create an opportunity for them to leave. They were very touched, but none of them ran away selfishly. You have to leave and find a way to contact Tianqi, Wandering, and the rest. Tell them not to come and die. As long as you are all alive, there will be a day of revenge. Xue Songqin said anxiously. But, no buts. Don't let my sacrifice be meaningless. Don't let me die with regrets. After that, Xue Songqin swallowed a longan-sized milky white elixir to increase her strength as much as possible. Xue Songqin, it seems like you still don't want to give up. In that case, I will let you see how big the gap between our strength is. Xue Songqin was a half-step emperor expert. With the help of the milky white elixir, her strength had increased greatly. However, the gap between a half-step emperor expert and a true emperor expert was too big. A single elixir could not make up for it. Boom! Mo Fengyun, who had not condensed his soul wings and was standing in the void, suddenly punched out. A fist radiance, like a meteor, shot out at a speed faster than the speed of light toward Xue Songqin, who had a solemn expression on her face. Flowing moon sword. Misty soaring 9 heavens. Sensing the terrifying power of this punch, Xue Songqin immediately took out one of the 2 greatest treasures of Misty Mountain, the high-grade heaven artifact Flowing Moon Sword. She used a low-grade Dao technique to counter it. The misty soaring 9 heavens sword light hit Mo Fengyun's shocking fist light. There was a huge explosion. Kacha, a crisp shattering sound rang out. The ethereal descend the 9 heavens that was unleashed by the cedar harp could not withstand Mo Fingyun's punch and shattered. The terrifying fist aura crushed the ethereal sword aura and bombarded Shwe Songqin with its remaining power, forcing her to dodge. However, the moment Shwe Songqin dodged, Devil Wind Cloud Void's body suddenly blurred in midair. He appeared above Shwe Songqin's head as if he had teleported and slapped her head with his palm. Misty Heaven Bell. At the critical moment, Shwe Songqin summoned the Misty Mountain's only heavenly treasure, the Misty Heaven Bell, and used it to block the attack from Mo Fengyun. Buzz. The Misty Heaven Bell trembled violently and released a deafening chime. It bombarded Mo Fengyun at close range. Not only did it neutralize his killer move, it even knocked him back. What are you all still standing there for? Hurry up and break out of this encirclement. Shwe Songqin looked at the Misty Mountain's third elder and urged through sound transmission. Let's go. The third elder gritted his teeth and led everyone to the back of the Misty Mountain. He wanted to use the natural barrier of the Misty Mountain to escape the pursuit. Chase. Don't let them escape. When the Misty Mountain's third elder and the others were escaping, the experts from the West Demon sect immediately chased after them. Dong. 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 Right at this moment, Shwe Songqin, who was unafraid of death, suddenly blocked in front of them. She poured all her soul power into the Misty Heaven Bell and struck it with all her might. Instantly, a series of deafening chimes rang out, forming a dense sound wave in the void. It was like a surging tide that swept towards the experts from the West Demon sect. Shwe Songqin was a half-step Emperor expert. When she struck the Misty Heaven Bell with all her might, the sound waves were extremely powerful. Many ordinary absolute kings were shaken to the point that their heads were about to split open. They bled from their 7 orifices and fell from the sky, wailing in pain on the ground. Myriad Transformations Black Lotus. Hearing the loud sound of the bell, Mo Fengyun was enraged. A large amount of demonic aura spread out from his body, instantly condensing into a black lotus that was as black as ink. It slowly bloomed and tore through the sound waves, colliding with the ethereal bell floating above Shwe Songqin. Boom! A loud explosion resounded, as if heavenly thunder had exploded in mid-air. It shook the entire Misty Peak. The demonic chi that erupted from the myriad transformations Black Lotus sent the Misty Heaven Bell flying, and the cedar zither fell to the ground from mid-air. PFFF. A large amount of blood spurted out from Shwe Songqin's mouth. After being attacked by Mo Fengyun's myriad transformations Black Lotus, Shwe Songqin was heavily injured. Her entire body was covered in bloody scars. Blood Devil Seal. Just as Shwe Songqin struggled to get up, Mo Fengyun, who was hovering in the air, struck out with his palm. A blood-red palm print descended from the sky, carrying with it an astonishing pressure. It pressed towards Shwe Songqin. Mo Fengyun's palm attack was extremely powerful. Layers of air were crushed. Shwe Songqin, who was at the center of the attack, was completely suppressed by the Blood Devil Seal. Her dodging speed was greatly affected. Unable to dodge, the heavily injured Shwe Songqin could only use all her strength to face the Blood Devil Seal head-on. Boundless Grand Tao. Shwe Songqin took a deep breath. 20 Water Tao patterns and 10 Sword Tao patterns surged out from her body. They fused with the high-grade Heaven artifact, Flowing Moon Sword, and slashed out with all her might. A white sword light filled with boundless power of the great Tao sword into the sky. It fused with the Water Tao patterns and Sword Tao patterns as it pierced the Blood Devil Seal without any resistance. Boom! When the 2 Tao skills clashed, the explosive force shattered the void and cracked the ground. A 1-mile radius was raised to the ground. PFFF. PFFF. Forcefully bearing the impact of the tide-like shockwave, Shwe Songqin's body was knocked into the cracked ground. A large amount of blood spurted out from her body like a fountain. She was on the verge of death. Xue Songqin, tell me how to open the misty immortal realm, and I will give you a quick death. Otherwise, I will let you taste all the pain in the world. Mo Fengyun's strength might be close to invincible, but the misty immortal realm was an inheritance of the heaven region. He didn't dare to open it by force. He threatened her coldly. Ha ha ha, Mo Fengyun, I advise you to give up. If you are not a disciple of the Misty Mountain, you will definitely die in the misty, immortal realm. As for soul searching, don't even think about it. I have already placed a restriction in my soul. Once you search my soul will immediately explode. Xue Songqin laughed loudly and completely forgot about life and death. It seems like you are not going to cooperate. Since that is the case, don't blame me for being ruthless. Mo Fengyun's eyes revealed a sinister look. A large amount of devil light drilled into Xue Songqin's body and sealed all her soul power, not giving her a chance to explode. In the next moment, 10 extremely sharp black silver needles appeared in Mo Fengyun's hand. He pierced them into the acupoints on Xue Songqin's head and stimulated her soul spirit. Ah! Xue Songqin let out a painful wail. Under the stimulation of the black silver needles, Xue Songqin bled from her 7 orifices. She was better off dead. Mobile reading home, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on bookmark at the bottom to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 455. Mo Fengyun, you bastards will not have a good ending. Sooner or later, the heavens will take care of you. Xue Songqin, who was on the verge of a mental breakdown, cried out in pain. Large amounts of blood flowed uncontrollably from her 7 orifices. She seemed to have aged a lot. Xue Songqin, you can't take it anymore? This is just the beginning. I still have more ways to torture you. Seeing Xue Songqin's twisted face, Mo Fengyun revealed a sinister expression. He took out another 10 silver needles and pierced them into Xue Songqin's acupuncture point. He tortured her body and stimulated her will. Just as Xue Songqin was being tortured by Mo Fengyun, an earth-shattering explosion came from the depths of Ethereal Mountain. One of the 3 forbidden grounds of Ethereal Mountain, the Ethereal Mirage, suddenly collapsed. What happened? Feeling the entire Ethereal Mountain shaking, Mo Fengyun and the others immediately looked towards the depths of Ethereal Mountain. They sensed something was wrong. Following that, a powerful soul force was released from the collapsed Ethereal Mirage. It flew to the main peak of Ethereal Mountain at a speed several times faster than light and entered the dying Xue Songqin's body. In the next moment, a shocking soul force exploded from Xue Songqin's body, shattering the black silver needles in her head and acupuncture points. It also dispersed the black demonic threads that sealed her soul force. Who are you? Sensing the dangerous aura from the mysterious soul in Xue Songqin's body, Mo Fengyun's expression changed slightly as he questioned her. Junior, you have guts. You actually dare to destroy the foundation of Ethereal Mountain. It seems like you have already forgotten about me in the tens of thousands of years since I ascended to the heaven region. An unfamiliar voice came from Xue Songqin's mouth as she spoke angrily. Ascended to the heaven region? You are the founder of Ethereal Mountain, Xue Piaomiao. Mo Fengyun raised his brows and looked at Xue Songqin with surprise. He said, I didn't expect that your soul would still remain in Ethereal Mountain. Unfortunately, this is no longer your era. With just a strand of your soul, you can't stop me from destroying Ethereal Mountain's foundation. Is that so? Then let me see the strength of the strongest person in the Western continent 100,000 years ago. As she spoke, Xue Songqin's body emitted a terrifying soul power. For a moment, the wind and clouds stirred and the world changed. The spirit energy of the misty mountains surged into Xue Songqin's body, forcibly suppressing her injuries. Ji founding ancestor. Knowing that the soul of the misty mountain's founder, Shui Piaomiao, had appeared. Gao Zhongyan and the others who had just betrayed the Misty Mountain were so scared that their calves and stomachs were cramping. Large amounts of cold sweat appeared on their foreheads, and they were extremely terrified. They had never expected that Shui Piaomiao's soul would appear at such a critical moment in the Misty Mountain. They were very afraid that Shui Piaomiao's soul would kill Mo Fengyun and settle the score with them. Everyone, listen to my orders. Retreat 10 li. Do not approach this place. Sensing the threat posed by Snow Piaomiao's soul, Demon Fengyun's expression darkened. He immediately ordered the experts he brought with him to retreat quickly to avoid being caught in the crossfire. Sky Blood Devil Blade. Next, Mo Fengyun took out the Sky Blood Devil Saber, a high-grade celestial weapon, and prepared to kill Shui Piaomiao's soul. Boundless Sword Art, Boundless Tao. At this moment, Shui Piaomiao made her move. She used her mind to summon the high-grade celestial weapons, Flowing Moon Sword and Misty Sky Bell, and executed her killer move on Mo Fengyun. Shui Piaomiao's Boundless Tao might not be fused with any Tao pattern, but the power had reached the limits of this move. It tore the space apart and cleaved at Mo Fengyun, who had a slight change in expression. 100 Battles Blood Shadow. The sword light that was filled with the Boundless Tao's prowess attacked. Hundreds of blood shadows appeared from Mo Fengyun's body and clashed with the sword light of different shapes. Boom, boom, boom. A series of concentrated explosions echoed. Mo Fengyun's 100 Battles Blood Shadow was constantly being torn apart by Shui Piaomiao's sword. The powerful recoil shook heaven and earth. Myriad Transformations Black Lotus. Seeing the 100 Battles Blood Shadow being destroyed by Shui Piaomiao's sword, Mo Fengyun opened his mouth and spat out the pitch-black Myriad Transformations Black Lotus, which clashed with Shui Piaomiao's attack. The strength of the Misty Mountain's founder is indeed extraordinary. However, no matter how strong you are, you will not be able to change the fate of the Misty Mountain. Mo Fengyun, who had vaguely probed Shui Piaomiao's strength, revealed a sinister smile. A blood-red skull appeared in his hand. Heavenly treasure. Shui Piaomiao looked at the blood skull in Mo Fengyun's hand and spoke softly. That's right. This is my West Devil Sex Heavenly Treasure Blood Skull. Today, let me see if my West Devil Sex Heavenly Treasure Inheritance or your Misty Mountain's Heavenly Treasure Inheritance is more powerful. As Mo Fengyun spoke, he poured in a large amount of soul power into the Heavenly Treasure Blood Skull. A bone-chilling ghost's weeping sound accompanied by a surge of blood aura echoed in the blood skull. Go! Mo Fengyun waved his right hand, and the blood skull flew towards Shui Piaomiao. It directly attacked the severely injured Shui Songqin's body. As long as Shui Songqin's body was destroyed, no matter how strong Shui Piaomiao's soul spirit was, she wouldn't be able to unleash her strongest soul spirit power without the control of her body. Misty Heaven Bell, Heavenly Note. The blood skull attacked like a blood meteor. Shui Piaomiao immediately poured a portion of her soul power into the Misty Heaven Bell and controlled it to ring. The powerful sound waves continuously shattered the blood aura released by the blood skull. The two top-tier heavenly treasures fiercely clashed above the Misty Mountain's main peak. The destructive power caused was not weaker than the battle between Shui Piaomiao and Mo Fengyun. Wind Bind, Splitting Wind Shadow. Shui Piaomiao's soul power was limited. She was multitasking, and her soul power consumption was very obvious. In order to kill Mo Fengyun and resolve the crisis of Misty Mountain, she did not hesitate to use a powerful secret technique to attack Mo Fengyun. Under Shui Piaomiao's soul control, a large amount of wind threads appeared around Mo Fengyun. They were like spiritual snakes that wrapped around his body. When Mo Fengyun's body was bound by the wind bind and his reaction slowed down a little, a wind blade that could tear apart heaven and earth fell from the sky. It was like a light screen that slashed towards Mo Fengyun. Golden Eye Fiend Python Bloodline Ignition, Beast Soul Form. At this critical moment, Mo Fengyun did not dare to hold back anymore. He decisively ignited his spiritual beast bloodline and transformed into his strongest beast soul form. He increased his strength to the greatest extent. The powerful strength directly tore apart the wind bind and faced the wind blade with all his might. Kacha, the wind blade, was crushed by the all-out attack of Mo Fingyun's beast soul form. The powerful remnant force was completely blocked by the snake scales that covered his body. It did not hurt him at all. Black Wheel of Death. After blocking Shui Piaomiao's killer move, Mo Fengyun decisively counterattacked. He slashed the Sky Blood Devil Saber in the air. Several black wheels of death shot out and attacked Shui Piaomiao with extreme speed. Bang bang bang! As the black wheels of death attacked, Shui Piaomiao quickly waved the flowing moon sword and stabbed 81 times in a split second, neutralizing the attack of the black wheels of death. It's over! Great Demon slaying Dragon Blade. Seizing the moment when Shui Piaomiao blocked the attack of the black wheels of death, Mo Fengyun's beast soul form continued to attack. 30 dark Dao patterns and 20 saber Dao patterns quickly condensed on the Sky Blood Devil Saber and slashed out a demonic dragon-like saber light. It was like a crack that tore apart space and extended towards Shui Piaomiao, who had nowhere to hide. Misty Heavenly Dao. At the critical moment, Shui Piaomiao burned her soul spirit and executed her final move. An illusory white light shot out and smashed the demon wind and cloud's great demon slaying dragon blade. Under his horrified gaze, the white light shattered his physical defense and pierced through his body, severely injuring him. If Yi Chunfeng was here, he would immediately recognize that Shui Piaomiao burned her soul spirit to execute the killer move. It was the root of all Daos, the power of the heavenly Dao. After executing the power of the heavenly Dao to severely injure Mo Fengyun, Shui Piaomiao's soul spirit became extremely weak. Her soul spirit flame might extinguish at any moment. She had no choice but to give up the idea of killing Mo Fengyun. Under the horrified gaze of everyone, she kept the misty heaven bell and controlled Shui Songqin's body to disappear into the chaotic main peak. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Collect button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 456. Sect Master, how are you? Are your injuries serious? Seeing the heavily injured Mo Fengyun vomiting blood and crashing to the ground, the West Demon Sect's great elder, Mo Qianli, and the others felt their hearts tighten. They immediately flew over and asked anxiously, "That Shui Piaomiao is truly worthy of being a peerless expert that ascended to the heaven domain. She's much stronger than me." Mo Fengyun spat out a mouthful of blood and slowly crawled out of the crater. Thinking of that terrifying white light that had injured him, he still felt lingering fear. However, this made him even more determined to enter the misty immortal realm. Rumor had it that the misty immortal realm was related to the heaven domain. If he could obtain the fortune of the heaven domain, he would have a chance of reaching the peak of the 5 Daos and ascending to the heaven domain. Sect Master, should we chase after them? Mo Qianli's eyes flickered with a fierce light. No need. Mo Fengyun shook his head. Although that Shui Piaomiao injured me, she's probably on the verge of death. Our main goal is to enter the misty immortal realm and obtain the inheritance inside. You guys come here. Mo Fengyun looked at the slightly pale Gao Zhongyan and the others. He coldly ordered, "Tell me the location of the misty immortal realm and how to enter." Sect Master Mo, we only know the location of the misty immortal realm, but we don't know how to enter. In the entire Misty Mountain, only Shui Songqin, Shui Tianqi, and Shui Piaoling know how to enter. Gao Zhongyan and the others felt as though they were being stared at by a ferocious beast when they met Mo Fengyun's ferocious gaze. They felt as though their guts were being torn apart as they explained in fear. A bunch of useless trash. The great elder of the Western Devil Sect, Mo Qianli, coldly said as he viciously swept his gaze over Gao Zhongyan and the rest. Let's go to the misty, immortal realm. Mo Fengyun consumed a precious heaven-rank soul pill to suppress his body that was heavily injured by the heavenly energy. Under the lead of Gao Zhongyan and the others, they broke through the layers of restrictions and arrived outside the misty paradise that was located in the deepest part of the misty mountain. Sect Master Mo, the mist in front of us is the misty, immortal realm. As long as we break the restrictions, we'll be able to enter. Gao Zhongyan tried his best to appear relaxed. Grandmaster Manshan, Grandmaster Fenghai, I'll leave the matter of breaking the seal to you two. Mo Fengyun, whose face was ghastly pale without a trace of blood, looked at the two white-haired old men in robes with ancient patterns. Their eyes were deep and their faces were flushed. These two white-haired old men were array masters that Mo Fengyun had spent a large sum of money to invite from the western continent. They had been immersed in array formations for over 1,000 years and had extremely high attainments in array formations. Sect Master Mo, since we have followed you to this misty mountain, we will definitely do our best to help you. Grandmaster Manshan, who was holding a hexagonal array plate, said in a low voice. That's right. Moreover, we also want to see how mysterious the ancient formation of the heaven domain is. Master Fenghai, who had long black hair casually draped over his shoulders, exuding an ancient aura, nodded. I'll have to trouble the two of you then. Mo Fengyun nodded his head and instructed. After saying that, Mo Fengyun consumed 2 heaven-level soul pills and sat cross-legged outside the misty, immortal realm to heal his body that had been heavily injured by the great Tao. At the same time, in a lush forest 100 miles north of Misty Mountain's Shaanxi province, Xue Songqin, who had escaped from Misty Mountain, sat cross-legged in a lush bush with a gloomy face and withered white hair. She was forcibly healing her injuries under the nourishment of Xue Piaomiao's soul. However, Mo Fengyun's strength was too terrifying. His terrifying attacks had nearly ended Xue Songqin's life. Even with the nourishment of Xue Piaomiao's soul, she was powerless and could not save her life. Misty Mountain Ancestor, is my Misty Mountain really finished? Xue Songqin, who was dispirited and lifeless, sighed powerlessly. Misty Mountain has been at peace for too long. Your edges have long been smoothed out by the passage of time. How can you protect a great treasure like the misty, immortal realm? If you can't protect the misty, immortal realm, it is reasonable for a calamity to come. However, my Misty Mountain has been passed down for 100,000 years. It is not so easy to be destroyed. Perhaps there is still a chance for a turnaround. Xue Piaomiao's soul, whose soul flame was getting weaker and weaker, slowly said. A turnaround. Xue Songqin's gloomy eyes suddenly shot out rays of light. Yi Chunfeng's figure appeared. Is the turnaround that ancestor is talking about that youth called Yi Chunfeng? That's right. He might be the turning point for my Misty Mountain. Once he matures, my Misty Mountain will have a great chance of a phoenix rising from the ashes and regaining our glory. Xue Piaomiao nodded and said, Sigh, perhaps I won't be able to see that day. Xue Songqin, whose life was severed and potential was overdrawn, sighed softly and said regretfully, Buzz, buzz, buzz. While speaking, Xue Songqin's communication pearl suddenly lit up. When she found out that Xue Tianqi, Xue Piaoling, and the others were on the way, she was instantly anxious. What's wrong, Songqin? Seeing Xue Songqin's anxious look, Xue Piaomiao asked. Tianqi and the others are on the way. They will reach the Misty Mountain soon. Ask them to come over. I have something to say to them. Xue Piaomiao's soul was too weak and could not fly long distances. She could only ask them to come over. All right. Xue Songqin nodded and immediately told them her location. About an hour later, dozens of powerful heavenly beasts flew above the mountain forest. Their gigantic wings covered the sky, and the entire mountain forest instantly turned dark. Ancestor Misty Mountain, When Xue Tianqi, Xue Piaoling, and the others found Xue Songqin, they saw Xue Piaomiao's soul floating beside her and immediately went forward to greet her. When Daoist Jianling, Qian Wentian, and the others found out that this soul in front of them was actually the founder of the Misty Mountain, the peerless talent who had ascended to the heaven region, Xue Piaomiao, they revealed a respectful expression and followed Xue Tianqi and the others to greet her. And Xue Piaomiao nodded towards Daoist Jianling and the others. Suddenly, she felt a familiar aura from Yi Chunfeng. Her soul fire started to fluctuate intensely. Yi Chunfeng, you have entered the ancient heaven palace. As a peerless talent from 100,000 years ago, Xue Piaomiao had entered the ancient heaven palace once. She knew that the most precious inheritance in the ancient heaven palace was the heavenly Tao. And this junior was fortunate enough to enter the ancient heaven palace and obtained the opportunity inside. Yi Chunfeng nodded and said, "Could it be that this is really predestined?" After getting Yi Chunfeng's confirmation, Xue Piaomiao immediately guessed that Yi Chunfeng had obtained a great opportunity in the ancient heaven palace. "Yi Chunfeng, follow me. I have something to say to you." Xue Piaomiao pondered for a moment and said, "Yes, senior." Yi Chunfeng looked at Xue Piaomiao with some astonishment, but he still followed her to the deepest part of the mountain forest. "Yi Chunfeng, tell me honestly, did you obtain the heavenly Tao inheritance in the ancient heaven palace?" Xue Piaomiao's soul sealed a small area of space and went straight to the point. "Yes." Yi Chunfeng hesitated for a moment and nodded. Good, good, good." After getting Yi Chunfeng's confirmation, Xue Piaomiao's soul revealed a thought-provoking smile and said, "Misty Mountain was destroyed. Originally, I had already given up on the misty, immortal realm. However, you obtaining the heavenly Tao inheritance in the ancient heaven palace made me change my mind. Yi Chunfeng, do you dare to enter the misty, immortal realm and compete with an emperor-level expert and 2 half-step combat beast emperors for the heavenly Tao inheritance inside?" Heavenly Tao inheritance. Yi Chunfeng raised his eyebrows and said with some surprise, "There is a heavenly Tao inheritance in the misty, immortal realm." Correct, the biggest inheritance in the misty, immortal realm is the heavenly Tao inheritance. Moreover, I can also give you the map of the misty, immortal realm's periphery to give you an advantage. However, that emperor-level expert is very strong. He has no lack of experts under him. If you encounter them, it is very likely that you will lose your life. Therefore, entering the misty, immortal realm is no different from risking your life. Xue Piaomiao nodded and said seriously, "Although the emperor-level expert is scary, it won't be that easy for him to kill me." Yi Chunfeng's eyes revealed an incomparable confidence as he said with a firm tone, "Misty Immortal Realm, this junior is definitely going to challenge it." Mobile reading website, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. Next time you open the bookshelf, you will see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 457. Good, good, good. You really didn't rely on luck to have your current achievements at such a young age. Feeling Yi Chunfeng's determination to pursue the great Tao and his heart of martial arts, Xue Piaomiao couldn't help but be affected and revealed a look of praise. She had a feeling that Yi Chunfeng might really be able to change the fate of Misty Mountain, allowing the phoenix of Misty Mountain to experience nirvana and be reborn from the ashes. All right, Yi Chunfeng, this remnant soul of mine is on the verge of dying. With the remaining time, I will imprint the map of Misty Immortal Realm's periphery into your mind. The rest of the journey will depend on you. Xue Piaomiao said weakly as her soul flame dimmed. Don't worry, senior. This junior promises you that Misty Mountain will definitely rise again one day. Yi Chunfeng nodded and promised in front of everyone. All right, I believe you. After speaking, Xue Piaomiao used the last of her soul energy to imprint the map of Misty Immortal Realm's periphery into Yi Chunfeng's soul. Yi Chunfeng, if there is a day when you ascend to the heaven domain, remember to find me at Misty Heavenly Palace. I hope we can meet again one day. As she spoke, Shui Piaomiao's soul flame slowly extinguished and disappeared from the world. Heaven domain, I will definitely go. Yi Chunfeng clenched his fist and swore to himself. Qingfeng, where is Ancestor Piaomiao? When Yi Chunfeng walked out of the depths of the forest alone, everyone immediately surrounded him. Shui Piaomiao asked. Senior Piaomiao told me some things about Misty Immortal Realm. After that, her soul flame extinguished. Yi Chunfeng said softly. Sigh, without Ancestor Piaomiao's help, with our strength, I'm afraid we won't be able to face this calamity. We should first find a place to settle down, recuperate, and wait for an opportunity to rise again. Shui Tianqi sighed softly and said with a gloomy expression. That's right. Tianqi is right. Mo Fengyun is already a level 2 beast emperor. His strength is not something you guys can contend against. Furthermore, other than Mo Fengyun, there are 2 other half-step beast emperors. Blindly attacking will only increase the casualties. Shui Songqin, who could barely suppress the heavy injuries on her body and was about to reach the end of her life, walked over with the support of a Misty Mountain elder. As she spoke, she suddenly coughed violently. Her pale face showed traces of redness, and she seemed to be full of energy. However, when everyone saw the red glow on Shui Songqin's face, they were not happy. Instead, they were sad because they knew that this was the final radiance of light. It meant that Shui Songqin's life had come to an end. Grand Elder Yu, seeing that Shui Songqin's flame of life could be extinguished at any time, Shui Piaoling and the others felt grief and pain in their hearts. They could not bear to see Shui Songqin, a legend of Misty Mountain, who had devoted her life to Misty Mountain, die like this. Don't be sad for me. I am already content to be able to see all of you before I die. Promise me, before you have enough strength, don't take revenge. Shui Songqin had already disregarded her life and death. Looking at Shui Piaoling and the other familiar faces, she squeezed out a smile on her aged face. Grand Elder, perhaps you can still be saved. Just when the atmosphere was stifling and everyone from Misty Mountain was grieving, and Taoist Jianling and the others had tactfully left, Yi Chunfeng suddenly spoke. Qingfeng, you have a way to save the Grand Elder's life. Hearing Yi Chunfeng's words, everyone's gaze turned towards Yi Chunfeng. Shui Piaoling asked excitedly. Yes, but I am not 100% confident. However, there should be a 60% chance of success. Shui Songqin's injuries were too severe, and she had overdrawn her body. Even Yi Chunfeng didn't dare to guarantee that the life spirit would be able to bring her back to life and save her, who had one foot in the door of death. Shui Songqin looked at Yi Chunfeng, the biggest variable in Misty Mountain's calamity, and asked slowly, Yi Chunfeng, the spirit item that you prepared to save me should be very precious, right? No matter how precious the item is, it is not as precious as life. Yi Chunfeng smiled and said without a care, if the opportunity is gone, we can fight for it again. If we lose our life, then it is truly gone. Alright, if you can really pull these old bones of mine back from the door of death, then my life will be yours. I will be at your disposal. Shui Songqin didn't reject anymore. Her lifeless eyes lit up with a trace of vitality. Let's go, Grand Elder. Follow me. Yi Chunfeng didn't want to expose the life spirit in front of everyone. He supported the extremely weak Shui Songqin and went deep into the forest. He condensed several array patterns and restricted a small area of space. Then, he took out a lump of life spirit. After using this lump of life spirit, Yi Chunfeng only had 4 lumps of life spirit. However, he didn't care. He believed that as his strength increased, the life spirit would become less useful to him. This is the life spirit. Shui Songqin revealed a trace of excitement when she saw the white life spirit that was slowly flowing in Yi Chunfeng's hand. It contained a majestic life spirit. Yes, I obtained this life spirit in the North Sea region's extreme of life. Yi Chunfeng nodded and said, Grand Elder, sit cross-legged and relax. Don't think about anything. Leave the rest to me. Thank you for your trouble. Xue Songqin sat cross-legged on the ground and closed her eyes. She handed her fate to Yi Chunfeng. Life Tao pattern, heal. Xue Songqin's injuries were too severe. Yi Chunfeng didn't blindly fuse the life spirit into her body. Instead, he condensed 10 life Tao patterns and slowly infused them into Xue Songqin's body to nourish her body. Life Tao intent. Xue Songqin never imagined that Yi Chunfeng would not only comprehend the Sword Tao, Lightning Tao insight, and Illusion Tao insight in his 20s, but he'd even comprehended the Life Tao insight. She had even more anticipation for his future. She had a feeling that if Yi Chunfeng didn't fall, his future achievements would probably surpass Xue Piaomiao and become the new legend of the Duhan continent. Life Spirit Fuse. Yi Chunfeng controlled the Life Tao patterns to nourish Xue Songqin's body. He began to slowly fuse the Life Spirit into her body. As the Life Spirit fused into her body, Xue Songqin's dying flame of life burned even more vigorously. Her white hair and shriveled skin gradually recovered vitality. Master, do you think Xingfeng can save the Grand Supreme Elder's life? After anxiously waiting for more than 6 hours, Xue Piaoling's face was filled with worry as he asked. If Xue Songqin fell, it would be a heavy blow to the unstable, ethereal mountain. I believe in Xingfeng. He will definitely be able to save the Grand Supreme Elder's life. When Xue Tianqi thought about Yi Chunfeng's repeated miracles, his heart was much calmer as he waited patiently. Time passed by slowly. When the red sun gradually sank into the depths of the forest and the sky gradually turned dark, 2 familiar figures bathed in the dusk. They stepped on the scattered branches and slowly walked over. Grand Supreme Elder. Seeing the revived Xue Songqin and Yi Chunfeng walking over side by side, Xue Piaoling and the others' eyes turned red. Yi Chunfeng used heaven-defying methods to save Xue Songqin's life and also saved the ethereal mountain's hope. However, only the heavens knew if Yi Chunfeng could single-handedly turn the tide, change the fate of the ethereal mountain, destroy Mo Fengyun and the others' conspiracy, and seize the Heaven Tao inheritance in the ethereal immortal realm. Mobile reading website, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the bookmark button at the bottom to record this reading. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 458. Xingfeng, thank you. Thank you for everything you've done for Misty Mountain. We'll never forget your kindness. Xue Piaoling said gratefully from the bottom of her heart. She never thought that a promise that she had never taken to heart would save the future of Misty Mountain. Sister Piaoling, you're too polite. This is what I should do. Yi Chunfeng smiled and said softly. Senior Songqin, Sect Master Xue, what plans does Misty Mountain have in the future? Seeing Yi Chunfeng's shocking methods, Taoist Jianling couldn't help but be moved. He completely believed that as long as Yi Chunfeng was given enough time, he would definitely become the nightmare of the Western demon sect. Mo Fengyun is too strong. With our strength, we can't contend against him. I've decided to give up on Misty Mountain and find the scattered young disciples of Misty Mountain to find a safe place to recuperate. We'll take revenge on the Western demon sect in the future. Xue Songqin didn't know about the conversation between Yi Chunfeng and Xue Piaomiao. Facing an undefeatable enemy, she could only give up on the foundation that had been passed down for 100,000 years. Hiding and recuperating might be the best choice for now. Senior Songqin, Sect Master Xue, if you don't mind, Misty Mountain can come to my Sword Valley to recuperate. After knowing about the terrifying lineup that attacked Misty Mountain, Taoist Jianling and the others knew that going to Misty Mountain now was no different from a mantis trying to stop a chariot. Go to Sword Valley. That's right. Our Sword Valley's location is special. It's easy to defend and hard to attack. Furthermore, with the myriad sword formation that has been passed down for 100,000 years and our good relationship with the Eastern Continent's 8th grade Holy Land, Sky Sword Palace, the Western Demon Sect shouldn't dare to casually invade. Even if the Western Devil Sect were to disregard everything and attack our Sword Valley, with the strength of our two great sects and the myriad sword great formation, we would be able to deal with them. Taoist Jianling nodded his head and said, "The reason why Taoist Jianling took such a huge risk to take in the people of Misty Mountain, who were on the cusp of a blade, was not only because he wanted to borrow the strength of Misty Mountain to fight against the Western Devil Sect together, but more importantly, he saw the glorious future of Misty Mountain from Yi Chenfeng. Thank you for your kind intentions, Sword Valley Master. Let's discuss it." Although Xue Songqin and the others were somewhat tempted, they did not immediately agree. Instead, they called all of the upper echelons of Misty Mountain and gathered together to discuss where Misty Mountain would settle down. After a vote, most of them agreed to temporarily settle down in the Sword Valley to recuperate. "Qingfeng, we are preparing to go to Sword Valley with Sword Valley Master to settle down temporarily. Do you want to come with us?" After the discussion, Xue Piaoling found Yi Chenfeng, who was meditating with his eyes closed and looking at the topographic map of the periphery of the ethereal wonderland in his mind. "No, I'm used to wandering alone, so I won't go with you to the Sword Valley. This trip to the ethereal immortal realm was too dangerous." Yi Chenfeng didn't tell Xue Piaoling about his plan to go to the ethereal immortal realm. "Qingfeng, what do you plan to do in the future?" Hearing Yi Chenfeng's refusal, Xue Piaoling asked in disappointment. "I haven't decided yet. Maybe I'll go to the Eastern Continent to train for a while. Or maybe I'll go look for other opportunities." Yi Chenfeng vaguely said, "But Sister Piaoling, don't worry. If there is a day when the Ethereal Mountain and the Western Demon Sect go to war, I'll definitely rush over to help. Hey Chenfeng, you have to be very careful and take good care of yourself when you're alone." Looking at Yi Chenfeng's determined face, Xue Piaoling knew that she couldn't persuade Yi Chenfeng to change his mind. She gently sighed in her heart and entrusted him with this task. "I will." Yi Chenfeng heavily nodded and said, "Sister Piaoling, help me take good care of Qingxue and Xia. Don't worry, Qingfeng. As long as I'm here, I won't let any harm come to them." Xue Piaoling nodded and promised. Because they were worried that something would happen to the young disciples that were sent out of the ethereal mountain, Xue Songqin and the others didn't delay any longer. They gathered the disciples and prepared to head to the Sword Valley. "Qingfeng, are you really not coming with us to the Sword Valley?" Ji Qingxue and Bai Xia looked at Yi Chenfeng with reluctance. They didn't want to part with him. "I'm not going." Yi Chenfeng looked at the two beautiful faces and shook his head. He said, "Take good care of yourself and cultivate well. When I have time, I'll come and see you." After saying that, Yi Chenfeng took out 2 bottles of heaven-rank soul pellets that he had plundered from the remains of Blue Ice Mountain and stuffed them into the 2 women's hands. "Yi Chenfeng, I hope to see you again. You'll give me an even greater surprise." Like a sharp sword, Jian Chen walked up to Yi Chenfeng and took the initiative to extend his right hand. "You too. Next time we meet, we'll definitely have a good competition." Yi Chenfeng faintly smiled and shook Jian Chen's hand. "Qingfeng, since you've already made up your mind, we won't try to persuade you anymore. However, remember, the ethereal mountain will always be your home. If you have nothing to do, come visit us often." Xue Songqin, who owed Yi Chenfeng her life, said, "I will. Everyone, take care." Yi Chenfeng nodded and said, "All right, let's go. Find the young disciples that have been sent out of the ethereal mountain and head to the Sword Valley." After saying that, the group summoned their flying heavenly beasts, and they left the thick forest in the middle of the night. After everyone left, Yi Chenfeng's body flashed slightly and disappeared from his original spot. He went deep into the forest and found a hidden cave. Then, he formed dozens of formation patterns and sealed the cave. Then, he summoned the sword spirit puppet. High-grade soul crystal fuse. Yi Qinfeng took out more than 100,000 high-grade soul crystals from the Azure Ice Mountain and fused them all into the sword puppet. He also took out the precious dragon egg and handed it to the sword puppet. Yi Qinfeng decided to break the dragon egg and absorb its essence to break through to the Absolute King realm. Once he broke through to the Absolute King realm, his strength would increase by more than 10 times. It would greatly increase his ability to fight against Mo Fengyun and the others, increasing his chances of obtaining the Heavenly Tao inheritance. Primal Chaos Energy, break for me! Yi Qinfeng roared. 10 strands of primal chaos energy from the primal chaos divine wood surged out of his body, turning into a 5-colored divine light that tore through space and struck the dragon egg in the sword puppet's hand. Boom! An earth-shattering sound rang out. The huge vibration instantly broke the runes that Yi Qinfeng had used to seal the cave, causing the entire mountain to shake. If Yi Qinfeng hadn't released his soul force to support the cave, it would have collapsed in an instant. What? It didn't break. When the dust gradually dispersed, Yi Qinfeng was surprised to discover that the surface of the dragon egg was filled with cracks. However, the 10 strands of primal chaos energy were unable to break it apart. Heavenly Tao rune, break! Since the 10 strands of primal chaos energy were unable to break the dragon egg, Yi Qinfeng immediately formed 3 Heavenly Tao runes to attack. However, the dragon egg's defensive power was beyond his imagination. No matter how he attacked, he was unable to break the dragon egg that was filled with cracks. Helpless, he could only give up. Sigh, looks like I can only take the risk to enter the misty immortal realm and find an opportunity to condense primal chaos energy before breaking this dragon egg. After a fruitless attack, Yi Qinfeng helplessly sighed. He kept the dragon egg that was filled with cracks into his spatial ring and left the shattered cave. After disguising himself slightly, he took the risk and headed to the Misty Mountain. Just as Yi Qinfeng was heading to the Misty Mountain by himself, the ancient formation outside the Misty Immortal Realm was broken by the 2 formation masters that Mo Fengyun had invited. Breaking the ancient formation outside the Misty Immortal Realm so quickly was out of Mo Fengyun and the rest's expectations. Even the 2 formation masters did not expect that the ancient formation outside the Misty Immortal Realm, which was said to be passed down from the Heaven region, would be so much weaker than the Misty Mountain's protective formation. However, in the face of the Heaven region's inheritance that might exist in the Misty Immortal Realm, Mo Fengyun and the rest, who had basically stabilized their injuries, did not hesitate and directly rushed in to search for the great opportunity in the Misty Immortal Realm. Mobile reading website, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 459. Whoosh! An ear-piercing sound pierced through the sky outside of the Misty Mountain. A tall and straight man wearing a black martial arts suit with cloud patterns appeared at the foot of the majestic Misty Mountain that was shrouded in clouds and mist. This black-robed man was none other than Yi Qinfeng, who had disguised himself slightly and came alone. Yes. Just as Yi Qinfeng was preparing to sneak into the Misty Mountain, his sharp senses felt a familiar soul lock onto him. He frowned slightly and looked sharply at the foot of the Misty Mountain. In the next moment, a figure wearing a white martial robe with a sharp aura walked out from the dense forest and looked at him with a smile. Yi Qinfeng, just as I guessed, you took the risk to come here. If I guessed correctly, you are preparing to enter the Misty Immortal Realm and compete with the people from the Western Demon Sect for the great opportunity in the Misty Immortal Realm. Although Yi Qinfeng had disguised himself, the white-robed man still recognized his identity from the aura he emitted. Haha, Jianchen, I didn't think you would also come. Yi Qinfeng looked at the white-robed man slowly walking over and said with a smile, You didn't expose my whereabouts, right? No, Jian Chen shook his head and said, Master doesn't really care about me, so I found an excuse to separate from them and came here to wait for you. Jian Chen, do you dare to follow me to the misty, immortal realm and compete with the Emperor-level experts for the great opportunity inside? Yi Chenfeng asked with a smile. If I didn't dare, I wouldn't have come. Jian Chen said with a fearless face. If that's the case, then what are we waiting for? After speaking, the two most outstanding geniuses of the northern spirit region looked at each other and smiled. They turned into two streams of light and flew into the misty mountain. They quickly flew towards the misty, immortal realm behind the main peak. Wait, let's go to the sky snow peak first. Yi Chenfeng and Shui Piaoling concealed their presence. When they approached the misty peak, Yi Chenfeng's powerful soul sensed over a dozen unfamiliar presences in the sky snow peak where Shui Piaoling cultivated. They immediately changed their direction and arrived at the sky snow peak. Motherf *Ker. How can this misty mountain be so poor? We've already ransacked these 7 mountains, but we haven't even found a single hair. More than 10 Xian Beast Sect experts of the West Devil Sect walked out of the pavilion where Shui Piaoling was cultivating and cursed. Why don't we go to the misty, immortal realm to try our luck? Perhaps we'll have an unexpected harvest. A Western Devil Sect expert wearing a black skull Taoist robe suggested. He was as thin as a match, and his eyes flickered with a fierce light. Forget about the misty, immortal realm. With our strength, we'll probably be cannon fodder if we enter that place. That's right. This is a place that even the sect master doesn't dare to be careless about. In fact, it's something that we can touch. It's better for us to make a small fortune here. But there's nothing here. How can we get rich? I feel that it's impossible for them to take away all the cultivation resources. We might not have found the right place. Come, let's destroy that pavilion and see if there are any hidden restrictions. After a discussion, everyone prepared to attack together. They wanted to destroy Shui Piaoling's cultivation pavilion and dig out the treasures left behind by the Misty Mountain. Just as they were about to attack, a powerful aura suddenly locked onto them. This aura was so strong that they felt suffocated. Their legs couldn't help but tremble. Not good. Could it be that there's still an expert of the Misty Mountain hidden here? Feeling the terrifying aura locking onto them, the hearts of the West Devil Sect experts trembled. They wanted to shout for help. However, before they could shout, a blurry figure appeared beside them. An extremely cold chill swept through their bodies, freezing them into ice sculptures. Hundun, search their souls. I want to know the current situation of the Misty Mountain. Controlling the ancient frost mystic ice to freeze the bodies of the West Devil Sect experts, Yi Chenfeng awakened the Chaos Divine Beast and ordered. Boss, the misty immortal realm has already been broken. Almost all the experts that attacked the Misty Mountain have entered the misty immortal realm. Only 2 protectors of the West Devil Sect are guarding the misty immortal realm. The Chaos Divine Beast forcefully searched the souls of the West Devil Sect experts and said, Hundun, apart from 1 Emperor and 2 half-step Battle Beast Emperors, are there any other experts among the invaders? Yi Chenfeng continued asking. Apart from the 3 of them, there are 16 rank 6 Reverse Beast Kings, over 30 rank 5 Reverse Beast Kings, and 2 famous formation masters in the Western continent, said the Chaos Divine Beast. What a terrifying lineup! A rank 7 Holy Lands foundation is indeed deep. After knowing the strength of the enemy, Yi Chenfeng couldn't help but be a bit moved. However, the more dangerous it was, the more it could stimulate Yi Chenfeng's potential and fighting spirit. He still decided to take the risk and enter the misty immortal realm to compete with the experts for the Heaven Domain's fortune. Jian Chen, the enemy is very strong. Apart from the West Devil Sect's sect master, Mo Fengyun, there are over 100 kings. Once we are surrounded, I'm afraid we'll be instantly turned to dust. Do you still want to enter the misty, immortal realm with me? Yi Chenfeng softly asked as he told Jian Chen all the information he knew. Yes, Jian Chen said without hesitation. His voice was filled with determination and fearlessness. Okay, let's go. With that, Yi Chunfeng shattered the ice seal and ended the lives of the West Devil Sex expert. He and Jian Chen left the snowy peak and quickly flew to the misty, immortal realm behind the Misty Mountain's main peak. On the way to the misty, immortal realm, Yi Chunfeng and Jian Chen encountered many experts of the West Devil Sect. However, no matter what realm they were at, they were all killed by the two of them. Very soon, the two of them arrived outside the misty, immortal realm and discovered the two protectors of the Misty Mountain guarding the misty, immortal realm. 2 Rank 4 Defiant Beast Kings. Yi Chunfeng's deep eyes shone sharply as he looked at the two protectors of the Misty Mountain. He said to Jian Chen secretly, and this quickly, "Deal with them as soon as possible and enter the misty, immortal realm." No problem. Jian Chen nodded and took out the 8 Evil sword. Like 2 unsheathed swords, he and Yi Chunfeng pierced through the sky and stabbed towards the two protectors at an extremely fast speed. Who? The protectors of the Misty Mountain, in charge of guarding the misty, immortal realm, suddenly heard an ear-piercing sound and immediately opened their eyes. Not good. When they saw Yi Chunfeng and Jian Chen rushing over, they smelled a strong sense of danger from them. Without hesitation, they fused with their spirit beasts and took out low-grade Dao Tool battle sabers to meet the attack with all their might. Demonic Blood Saber. The two of them roared and poured their soul power into their battle sabers. A blood-red saber light flew out and slashed towards Yi Chunfeng and Jian Chen with overflowing killing intent. Flying Immortal Sword. 20 Sword Dao patterns and 10 Thunder Dao patterns fused into the sovereign armament. Boundless sword intent leaked out from the sovereign armament. Yi Chunfeng stabbed out with his sword. The meteor-like sword light was like a sword from beyond the heavens, breaking the blood-smelt devil blade in one strike. Before the West Devil Sex Enforcer could react, the sword pierced through his body. Bang! The body of the Western Devil Sex Enforcer was torn apart by Yi Chunfeng's sword, and he died. When Yi Chunfeng killed one of the protectors, Jian Chen, who had raised his sword Dao to the second heavenly layer, also killed an enemy in one strike. Let's go. After killing the two protectors of the West Devil Sect in an instant, Yi Chunfeng and Li Wuyo took their belongings and entered the mysterious and dangerous ethereal wonderland. Yun Lei's WeChat platform, YLTY83. You can also search for Yun Lei Tianyu. Recently, Yun Lei will post Yunichang's photos. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 460. When Yi Chunfeng and Jian Chen entered the ethereal immortal realm, the scene before their eyes changed drastically. They found themselves in a lush, primitive forest. The forest was filled with ancient trees that were over 100 meters tall and covered the sky. Ancient vines wrapped around the ancient trees like dragons. They intertwined and spiraled, forming a huge net. In the huge net there were many colorful unknown fruit. Above the lush forest, a yellow sun hung in the sky. However, this yellow sun was not real. It was condensed from the laws of space in the ethereal immortal realm. The spiritual chi in the ethereal immortal realm is indeed different from the outside world. It looks like this ethereal immortal realm really comes from the heaven domain. After absorbing the dense spiritual chi in the ethereal immortal realm into his body, Yi Chunfeng found that the spiritual chi here was of a much higher grade than the outside world. The laws of space were also clearly higher than the soul-fighting continent. However, as a large amount of spiritual chi flowed into his body, Yi Chunfeng unexpectedly found that his body could not adapt to such a high-grade spiritual chi. The strange laws of space were constantly suppressing his strength. Yi Chunfeng, do you feel that your strength has decreased? Jian Chen opened his tightly shut eyes and looked at Yi Chunfeng as he asked softly. I feel it. My strength has been suppressed by 10%. My soul perception has also been affected. Yi Chunfeng nodded and said, I think this should be because we can't adapt to the high-grade laws of space and spiritual qi in the ethereal immortal realm. That's why our strength has been suppressed. That should be the case. Jian Chen, whose strength had also been suppressed by 10%, nodded and said, Let's go. Let's go deeper into the ethereal immortal realm and see what secrets there are inside. Wait, let's not rush. Let me identify the location first. With that, Yi Chunfeng leaped up and directly jumped onto an ancient tree that was 100 meters tall. He looked into the distance and identified his position. Polygonal mountains and a triangular lake. If the topographic map that Senior Piaomiao gave me is correct, there is a hidden space within the lake. A spirit pool is sealed within it. He watched as Yi Chunfeng stood on the lush treetop and looked around according to the map imprinted in his mind. He found a hidden restriction marked on the map and immediately jumped down from the ancient tree. Let's head northwest, Yi Chunfeng said. All right. Jian Chen did not ask too many questions. He followed Yi Chunfeng into the ancient forest that blotted out the sun. He quickly made his way to the triangular lake in the northwest. Because they were afraid of exposing themselves, Yi Chunfeng and his companion did not dare to fly. They could only travel through the dense forest. Shoo. Yi Chunfeng and Wu Qi had been flying in the woods for the time it takes an incense stick to burn. Suddenly, they heard an ear-piercing sound of friction coming from underground. A strange bug, the size of a calf, covered in a golden shell, with a pair of scythe-like fangs and two feelers that looked like divine whips, crawled out from underground. A Class 6 heavenly beast. Sensing the level of the strange bug, Yi Chunfeng and Wu Qi's expressions changed slightly. Just how long has this misty illusion existed? A random bug is actually a Class 6 heavenly beast. I wonder if there are Class 9 heavenly beasts here, Jian Chen murmured to himself. 30 inscriptions of the Way of the Sword surged out of his body and fused with the Sword of Calamity. He used his full strength to attack the insect that was equivalent to a Class 6 Defiant Beast King. As soon as Jian Chen attacked, Yi Chunfeng attacked as well. Extremely destructive extreme ancient heavenly lightning surged out of his body, turning into a huge ball of lightning. It followed closely behind Jian Chen's sword light and struck the strange bug. Roar! The strange golden-armored bug let out a miserable cry as its tough outer shell was split open by the 30 sword Dao patterns. Its inner body was struck by the ancient extreme heavenly thunder and was blasted into a bloody mess as it cried out in pain. Boss, I want this bug's monster core. Just as Yi Chunfeng and the Divine Beast of Chaos continued to attack, the Divine Beast of Chaos roared and flew out of Yi Chunfeng's body. It burrowed into the golden-shelled bug's broken body and swallowed its demon core, ending its life. Pig! Jian Chen was slightly surprised when he saw the Chaos Sacred Beast's body. He was surprised that Yi Chunfeng had a pig soul with him. Qingfeng, you've subdued a pig soul. Jian Chen turned to Yi Chunfeng and asked curiously when he saw the satisfied Chaos Sacred Beast fly out of the strange bug's body. Pig demon, what an ignorant brat! Have you ever seen a pig demon as tall and mighty as me? The chaotic divine beast's beady eyes shone with a vicious light as he stared at Jian Chen firmly and said viciously, Then what are you? Jian Chen asked doubtfully. No matter how he looked at it, the Chaos Sacred Beast looked like a pig demon. I am Chaos, the one and only, the strongest divine beast in the world, Chaos, the Chaos Sacred Beast boasted. Never heard of Chaos, Jian Chen shook his head and said. The Chaos Sacred Beast was speechless. What an ignorant brat! I can't be bothered to talk to you. The Chaos Sacred Beast rolled its eyes at Jian Chen and ignored him. It directly entered Yi Chunfeng's body and lived in the Chaos Divine Tree, refining the monster core to recover its strength. Space Devourer blood. Looking at the golden-shelled insect's body, Yi Chunfeng summoned the Space Swallower and let it absorb the golden-shelled insect's blood. Let's go, Jianchen. Yi Chunfeng smiled and left the forest that reeked of blood with Jianchen. They continued towards the triangular lake. As they went deeper and deeper into the ancient forest, Yi Chunfeng and Jianchen were constantly attacked by powerful heavenly beasts in the forest. Fortunately, the strongest heavenly beast that attacked them was only a level 6 heavenly beast. With the two of them working together, they easily killed the heavenly beasts that attacked them. The precious demonic cores were all given to the chaos divine beasts, and the blood essence was devoured by the space-swallowing bugs. About 2 hours later, Yi Chunfeng and Xiao Chen, who had been fighting their way through the polygonal stone mountain, arrived at the triangular lake. Looking at the rippling lake, Yi Chunfeng did not hesitate and immediately jumped into the lake with Jianchen. According to the map in his head, they quickly swam to the bottom of the lake. Boss, a group of heavenly beasts have discovered you and are approaching you. As they gradually approached the bottom of the lake, the chaos sacred beast sensed danger and warned them. I feel it. Yi Chunfeng, who had sent out all his soul's strength, nodded with a solemn expression. Although the group of heavenly beasts were not very powerful, Yi Chunfeng did not dare to start a massacre at the bottom of the lake. He was afraid that the blood would attract other powerful heavenly beasts. That would be troublesome. Jianchen, don't fight. Follow me at full speed. Once we reach the bottom of the lake, we'll be safe. Yi Chunfeng said to Jianchen through a communication technique. Okay. Jianchen nodded and swam faster. The two of them were like two flying swords, cutting through the cold water. They struggled to break through the obstruction of the group of strange fish heavenly beasts and quickly reached the bottom of the lake. Restriction. There really is a restriction here. After reaching the bottom of the lake, Yi Chunfeng really did sense the power of the restriction according to the map. Has Yi Chunfeng been here before? Jianchen also sensed the power of the restriction at the bottom of the lake and revealed a surprised expression. He looked at the mysterious Yi Chunfeng beside him. Jianchen, let's attack with all our strength and break this restriction. Yi Chunfeng said. Okay. Jianchen nodded and raised his attack to the peak, attacking together with Yi Chunfeng. Boom! An earth-shattering explosion sounded. The restriction at the bottom of the lake was directly shattered by Yi Chunfeng and Jianchen's full-strength attack, revealing a huge spatial black hole. Let's go. Following the crazily surging lake water, Yi Chunfeng and Jianchen passed through the black hole and entered the hidden space at the bottom of the lake. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button below to record your reading history. You will be able to see it the next time you open your bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 461. Chunfeng, how did you know about this place? After entering the hidden space at the bottom of the lake, Jianchen hesitated for a long time before asking the question that had been bothering him. Because before Senior Misty's soul flame was extinguished, he gave me a map of the misty immortal realm. Feeling that Jianchen was sincerely helping him, Yi Chunfeng also wanted to befriend him. He didn't hide anything and told him the truth. So it's like that. Looks like our chances of survival in the misty immortal realm have increased by quite a bit. Jianchen smiled. We will definitely leave this place alive. I firmly believe that, Yi Chunfeng said without any hesitation. After saying that, the two of them smiled at each other and went to the depths of the hidden space. They found a pool filled with milky white spirit liquid, and above the pool was a transparent crystal that was about the height of a person. It was sparkling and translucent, and it contained a powerful soul force. This crystal is a top-grade soul crystal. Looking at the transparent crystal in front of him, Yi Chunfeng's eyes lit up. Once the sword puppet devoured such a large piece of top-grade soul crystal, its strength would very likely reach the level of a rank 6 reverse beast king or even an emperor. Buzz buzz buzz. When Yi Chunfeng and his companion approached the pool filled with spiritual liquid, two extremely powerful beams of white light suddenly shot out from the top-grade soul crystals and attacked the two of them. Because the two white lights were too fast, the two of them were caught off guard and struck. Thump thump. Relying on the defensive power of a mid-grade heaven artifact, Yi Chunfeng blocked the white light. However, he was forced back 2 steps and felt a slight numbness in his chest. As for Jianchen, who was wearing a low-grade heaven artifact battle armor, he was forced back 5 steps. His blood roiled as the terrifying white light directly cracked his battle armor, causing blood to seep out. What terrifying power! Jianchen suppressed his surging vital energy and glanced at the supreme-grade soul crystal that shone with a large amount of white light. He was shocked by its offensive power. If it weren't for the fact that he was wearing a low-grade heaven artifact battle armor, he felt that the white light would have pierced his body and destroyed it. Yi Chunfeng, let's attack together and destroy that top-grade soul crystal. 30 inscriptions of the Way of the Sword appeared on his body and revolved around him. No need, I have a way to deal with it. Yi Chunfeng shook his head. He summoned the sword puppet and ordered it to devour the top-grade soul crystal. Buzz buzz buzz. As the sword puppet approached, the white light reflected from the soul crystal attacked its body intensely, trying to destroy it. However, the sword puppet's body was almost immortal. Attacking the white light did not cause any harm to it and only consumed the energy in its body. Devour! The sword puppet forcefully approached the supreme-grade soul crystal and leaped toward it, directly fusing the supreme-grade soul crystal, which was taller than a person, into its body. Jianchen's eyes widened as he watched the sword puppet use its body to block the white light and devour the supreme-grade soul gem. Disbelief filled his face. Let's go. We need to absorb the spiritual liquid and increase our strength. Sensing that the sword puppet would not be able to fuse with the supreme-grade soul crystal, Yi Chunfeng and Jianchen arrived in the pool. They quickly absorbed the spiritual liquid that had been nurtured for tens of thousands of years to increase their strength. Jianchen had obtained a great fortuitous encounter in the ancient Heaven Palace, reaching the peak of the 3rd-grade Defiant Beast King long ago. He was on the verge of breaking through. As he absorbed the spiritual liquid with all his strength, he came into contact with the bottleneck of his cultivation and began to break through to the 4th grade. Yi Chunfeng also controlled the chaotic divine wood to quickly absorb the spiritual liquid and nurture chaotic force. Around 6 hours later, Jianchen had completely consolidated his foundation after absorbing a third of the spiritual liquid. He broke through the bottleneck in one fell swoop and became a 4th-grade Defiant Beast King. Brother Jianchen, I'm preparing to break through to the Sovereign Realm. Can you watch over me? After breaking through to the 4th-grade Defiant Beast King, the chaotic divine wood that had absorbed a third of the spiritual liquid had also nurtured 2 strands of chaotic force. Sensing that the 2 strands of chaotic force were enough to break through the shell of the dragon egg, Yi Chunfeng asked gently. Sure, no problem. Jianchen nodded and agreed in an extremely straightforward manner. Thank you. Yi Chunfeng smiled and leapt out of the dried-up pool. Arriving outside, he took out the 100-crystal diagram that Fu Qingshan had given him and enveloped himself with it. In the next moment, Yi Chunfeng took out the dragon egg that was riddled with cracks. He sent out 2 extremely sharp strands of chaotic force, which landed heavily on the surface of the dragon egg. With a cracking sound, the invincible outer shell of the dragon egg finally shattered. A boundless and indescribably terrifying aura was released from the dragon egg, spreading throughout the 100 crystals chaos origin diagram. What terrifying power! No wonder it's a dragon egg that even the experts of the heaven domain desire. Although this dragon egg was already dead, and the energy it contained could not be compared to a real dragon egg, Yi Chunfeng's strong heart still trembled when he felt the boundless and vigorous energy released by the dragon egg. A Class 6 Xian beast ancestor needed to devour a dragon egg to become a Class 1 defiant beast king. Even the monstrous geniuses in the heaven domain, who were born with a silver spoon in their mouths, did not receive such treatment. It could be said that once Yi Chunfeng absorbed the dragon egg and broke through to become a Class 1 defiant beast king, he would establish an extremely powerful cultivation foundation. His body's potential would increase limitlessly, and his future accomplishments would be limitless. Boss, with your strength, it's impossible for you to absorb all the essence of the dragon egg. Can you give me the rest of the essence? The chaotic divine beast appeared in the 100 crystal diagram when he sensed the tremendous dragon energy from the dragon egg. He drooled as he looked at the dragon egg. Sure. Yi Chunfeng agreed in an extremely straightforward manner. Boss, I love you, the chaotic divine beast excitedly said. He was eager to taste the dragon egg. Chaotic divine beast, protect me. Soul-devouring method, absorb. Yi Chunfeng sucked in a deep breath and circulated the soul-devouring method at high speed. It seeped into the dragon egg and absorbed the essence bit by bit, fusing it with his body. Boom! When the dragon egg essence entered his body, Yi Chunfeng felt as though a lifelike dragon had appeared in his body. It was soaring and tumbling within his body. Dragon roars resounded. What a terrifying dragon energy! His body was constantly attacked by the dragon egg essence. Yi Chunfeng pushed the soul-devouring method's circulation speed to the peak. He also controlled the primal chaos divine wood to forcefully suppress the dragon energy surging within his body. This was to prevent the dragon energy from being too strong and tearing apart his meridians. At this time, Yi Chunfeng had a feeling that he was refining an untamable divine dragon. One could imagine the pain he was feeling. Fortunately, Yi Chunfeng's body had undergone the baptism of the heavenly tribulation in the ancient palace. He had also cultivated his spirit body to the 3rd level, allowing him to withstand the dragon energy's impact. As the soul-devouring method rapidly refined the dragon egg's essence, Yi Chunfeng's foundation reached the limit of his realm. He began to charge into the reverse beast king realm with all his strength. His 2nd-grade dragon bloodline also increased greatly, showing faint signs of evolving to the 3rd grade. Once Yi Chunfeng's dragon bloodline evolved to the 3rd grade, he could ignite his dragon bloodline to attack, and his strength would increase 3-fold. Just as Yi Chunfeng was trying his best to break through to the absolute king realm, dark clouds suddenly gathered above the triangular lake. Large patches of dark clouds surged over like an army, forming a tribulation cloud that was tens of thousands of feet tall. Rumble and earth-shattering roar of thunder resounded within the tribulation clouds. A bizarre black tribulation lightning suddenly tore through the tribulation cloud. Like a divine dragon, it blasted apart the ice-cold lake water and the restrictions at the bottom of the lake. With extreme speed, it bombarded Yi Chunfeng, who was refining the dragon egg's essence with all his strength and attempting to break through to the realm of supreme kings. There had never been a case of a human charging into the peerless king realm that attracted a heavenly tribulation in the entire Dohua continent. Reading this website, this book's address. To make it easier for you to read this book next time, you can click on the save button at the bottom to record this book. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 462. Heavenly Tribulation. Why would I attract heavenly tribulation when I'm breaking through to become a supreme king? Yi Chunfeng was surprised when he sensed the descending tribulation lightning that had locked onto him. He was covered in veins as he refined the essence of the dragon egg with all his strength. Hun Dun, do you know what's going on? Yi Chunfeng asked the knowledgeable divine beast of chaos, who was now like a frightened bird. Boss, how is this heavenly tribulation? This is heavenly punishment. The primal chaos divine beast cried out in fright. Without even thinking about it, he directly dove into Yi Chunfeng's body and hid in the primal chaos divine wood, not daring to come out. Heavenly punishment? What's this? Yi Chunfeng asked quickly. He could not understand how he had attracted heavenly punishment. Normally, only extremely vicious people or people who have gone against the heavens will attract heavenly punishment. Boss, you've attracted heavenly punishment when you're breaking through to become a supreme king. It's very likely that you've gone against the laws of the heavens and incurred the wrath of the heavens, which is why heavenly punishment has descended. I've gone against the laws of the heavens. Yi Chunfeng smiled bitterly and murmured, is it because of this dragon egg? 3,000,000 kilograms of force. Omnipotent way of the sword. Seeing the heavenly punishment descend, Yi Chunfeng put away the 100 crystals primal chaos diagram. The energy of the spiritual pearls in his 3 acupoints merged together and erupted from Yi Chunfeng's body with the 20 inscriptions of the way of the sword. They condensed into a huge, white sword that pierced through the sky to receive the extremely destructive heavenly punishment. Rumble! The moment the way of the sword, which was filled with 7,000,000 jin of force, collided with the pitch-black divine punishment, a huge explosion sounded between heaven and earth. Endless lightning swept out in all directions, instantly shattering the hidden space hidden in the triangular lake. What's going on? Isn't Yi Chunfeng breaking through to become a supreme king? Why has he attracted the heavenly tribulation? Jian Chen, who had been knocked back by the terrifying lightning, was shocked. He was completely stunned by the scene before him. Jian Chen, please stand guard outside for me. Don't let anyone disturb me when I'm undergoing the tribulation. Bathed in the terrifying heavenly punishment, Yi Chunfeng was afraid that the huge commotion would attract the terrifying enemies in the ethereal paradise, so he immediately diverted some of his attention to send a message to Jian Chen. All right, no problem. Jian Chen nodded. He ripped through the surging water with a single stroke. Like a sword of light, he pierced through the lightning-filled water and quickly flew towards the turbulent surface of the lake. Sword puppet, you go stand guard outside as well. Yi Chunfeng then gave an order to the sword puppet, whose strength had improved slightly after refining the top-grade soul crystal. After the two of them left, Yi Chunfeng cleared his mind of all distracting thoughts. He resisted the baptism of the heavenly wrath as he focused on refining the dragon's might within him, continuing his attempt to break through to Sovereign King. Rumble! As the black heavenly wrath descended from the sky, it grew stronger and stronger. Large amounts of lightning passed through Yi Chunfeng's skin and entered his body. Originally, Yi Chunfeng's body had been severely damaged by the powerful dragon's might. Now that he was attacked by the black heavenly wrath, his injuries became even more severe. Large amounts of cracks constantly spread across his body, and the blood that flowed out dyed him red. Beast soul form. With no other choice, Yi Chunfeng transformed into his strongest beast soul form. Large amounts of dragon scales covered his body, greatly increasing his defense. Inscription of the heavenly ways, suppress the heavenly wrath. Afterwards, Yi Chunfeng decisively condensed 3 more inscriptions of the heavenly ways. Together with the chaotic divine wood, they suppressed the heavenly wrath that had entered his body and controlled his body to absorb it. Rumble! Just as Yi Chunfeng forcefully stabilized his injuries and suppressed the heavenly wrath that had entered his body, the black tribulation clouds that were growing thicker and thicker resounded with devastating thunder once more. The terrifying heavenly tribulation lightning was like a surging tide. It quickly gathered together and the entire sky turned dark. The terrifying sound of thunder swallowed up all the sounds in the world. The space above the triangular lake was constantly distorting. Boom! The black heavenly wrath had accumulated enough energy. Like a huge dragon, it tore through the thick tribulation clouds. With shocking destructive power, it once again slammed into the surging triangular lake, attacking Yi Chunfeng. The powerful force directly tore a huge hole in the lake, and the entire space seemed to collapse. What's going on over there? Why is there a heavenly wrath? Has a treasure appeared? The disturbance caused by the heavenly wrath was so great that it alarmed over a dozen experts who had invaded the ethereal immortal realm. They were searching for great fortuitous encounters in the immortal realm. Seeing the heavenly wrath in the distance, they all condensed soul wings and flew over. Yes, it's Bing Tianlu. He's an expert from the Ice Palace. Jian Chen, who was guarding the triangular lake, immediately recognized the experts who had been drawn over by the heavenly wrath. They were the ones who had betrayed the northern spirit region and secretly colluded with the western demon sect in an attempt to overthrow the Misty Mountain. The leader was a middle-aged man in white robes with cloud-charging boot. He was the palace master of the Ice Palace, Bing Tianlu, a Class 6 defiant beast king. Aside from Bing Tianlu, there was also an old man with snow-white hair and beard in a gray robe beside him. This old man was the only remaining Grand Elder of the Ice Palace, Taoist Bing Yuan, a level 6 defiant beast king. With Jian Chen's strength and the might of the third layer of the Way of the Sword, he could kill an ordinary Class 6 defiant beast king by himself. However, Bing Tianlu was not an ordinary Class 6 defiant beast king. He controlled the Ice Palace's treasure, the White Serpent Seal, and had cultivated the Ice Palace's legacy to an extremely high level. He was extremely powerful. On the other hand, Taoist Bing Yuan was even stronger than Bing Tianlu. He had been known as the strongest person in the North Sea Prefecture for over 1,000 years. After 1,000 years of cultivation, he was already a half-step battle beast emperor. Why is there a stranger here? Bing Tianlu and the others quickly flew over. They immediately saw Jian Chen, who had disguised himself slightly and was unfamiliar, standing near the shore of the lake. They were surprised. Are there still experts from the Misty Mountain here? The eyes of Bing Tianlu and the others became ferocious. They all released powerful auras to lock onto Jian Chen. Who are you? Why have you appeared here? Bing Tianlu looked at Jian Chen with a sunken face and asked coldly, Why has the heavenly wrath appeared? Anyone who approaches will die. Jian Chen looked at Bing Tianlu and the others with his hands behind his back. He did not show any fear because of their strength. You're courting death. Taoist Bing Yuan never thought that Jian Chen would be so arrogant. Killing intent flashed through his eyes as he struck out with his palm. A huge, cold hand imprint with shocking destructive power met Jian Chen's attack. Second heavenly layer of the Way of the Sword, break. Jian Chen decisively countered Taoist Bing Yuan's attack. 20 sword runes gathered in the Slaughter Calamity sword and slashed through the air, splitting the cold hand imprint. Second heavenly layer of the Way of the Sword. You are from the Sword Valley. Witnessing the power of Jian Chen's attack, Taoist Bing Yuan and the others became extremely gloomy. They could vaguely guess Jian Chen's identity. At this moment, another crack appeared on the surface of the violently churning lake. The black-robed sword puppet appeared, fully focused on refining the soul crystal. Taoist Bing Yuan and Bing Tianlu glanced at each other when they saw the sword spirit puppet, whose aura was extremely unstable but gave off a lethal aura. Bing Yuan said coldly, Everyone, listen up. Attack with all your might and capture the two of them. With that, the two of them took out their heaven artifacts and attacked Jian Chen and the sword puppet. While Yi Chunfeng was undergoing the baptism of the heavenly wrath, Jian Chen also encountered a huge problem. Mobile reading website, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click Save at the bottom to record this reading. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 463. Sky-splitting astral wind. Bing Tianlu attacked with a mid-grade heaven-tier ice blade. The sword and wind Dao patterns flew out of Jian Chen's body and fused together, forming a sharp astral wind that connected the heavens and the earth. It slashed towards Bing Tianlu like mercury. Yeah, he really is an expert from Sword Valley. Could it be that the people from Misty Mountain have killed their way in? This heavenly tribulation is caused by the people from Misty Mountain. Bing Tianlu's face changed slightly when he saw Jian Chen's lethal attack. He counterattacked decisively, and a blade of light filled with deathly stillness struck the incoming sky-splitting wind, shattering it in a single stroke. As expected of the Ice Palace Master, his strength is truly extraordinary. Jian Chen's eyes flickered with dense battle intent. Seeing Bing Tianlu's aura grow stronger and stronger, an unparalleled sword intent gushed out of his body, cutting through the chaotic air and locking onto him. Wind Dao intent, speed amplification, Jian Chen roared. His body turned into a hurricane, and in an instant, he stabbed out 81 times, enveloping Bing Tianlu. Every stab of his was unbelievably fast. Each stab was aimed at Bing Tianlu's vital point. It was so fast that it was too much for the eyes to take in. Sky-splitting icicle strike. Facing Jian Chen's fast sword attack, Bing Tianlu didn't panic. The ice blade in his hand seemed to shatter, turning into thousands of icicles that collided with the streaking sword images. Oh, what a terrifying attack! Who is this person? He can actually fight the Palace Master head-on and not be at a disadvantage. Yeah, since when did such a terrifying figure appear in Sword Valley aside from Daoist Jianling? Because the shockwaves from Jian Chen and Bing Tianlu's attacks were too strong, the Ice Palace experts were completely stunned. They didn't dare to approach and attack Jian Chen. Although the battle between the sword puppet and Daoist Bing Yuan was one-sided, the ferocious Daoist Bing Yuan couldn't injure the sword puppet at all. Just as Jian Chen and the sword puppet were using all their strength to defend against the Ice Palace experts, the tribulation clouds in the sky let out a world-shaking roar of thunder. Several hundred pitch-black tribulation lightning bolts rolled in the tribulation clouds, gathering into the most lethal attack. Rumble! An earth-shattering explosion rang out from the tribulation cloud that was several thousand feet high. It was as if the heavens and earth were shattering at this moment. The lightning punishment broke through the thick clouds and gathered into a lightning ball that grew larger and larger in midair. It was filled with the power to destroy the world. Like a meteor that had fallen into the mortal world, it crashed into the violently rolling lake. In the blink of an eye, the 1,000-meter-deep lake was filled with pitch-black spatial cracks. A large amount of lake water entered the spatial cracks and disappeared, gradually revealing the severely damaged bottom of the lake. As for Yi Chunfeng, who was at the bottom of the lake, he was already riddled with injuries. If it wasn't for his physical body, which was comparable to a mid-grade heaven artifact, the Blood Dragon scale neutralizing most of the attacks, and the Chaos Divine Wood and Heavenly Tao patterns suppressing the Heavenly Punishment and Heavenly Dragon Force, he wouldn't have been able to withstand it. His physical body would have collapsed and he would have died. 4 runes of the Heavenly Tao, the Heartless Heavenly Tao. Yi Chunfeng made up his mind when he sensed the lethal energy within the sphere of heavenly punishment. He forcefully condensed 4 inscriptions of heavenly ways that exceeded what his body could endure and used the merciless ways to fend off the sphere of heavenly punishments. However, the moment he condensed the 4 inscriptions of heavenly ways and used the merciless ways, his bloody body was shattered by the power of the heavenly ways, almost directly collapsing. Boom! The merciless ways struck the sphere of heavenly punishments. The 4 inscriptions of heavenly ways exploded at the same time. The powerful heavenly ways forcefully stopped the sphere of heavenly punishments, ripping apart the space above Yi Chunfeng's head. 7 Swords of Judgment Eclipse. Fury of Divine Retribution. As the 2 powerful attacks clashed, Yi Chunfeng ignored his injuries and erupted with all his trump cards. He used the Sword of Eclipse and the Fury of Divine Retribution in succession, striking the sphere of heavenly punishments at close range. Rumble! Boom! 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 After receiving Yi Chunfeng's killer moves, the sphere of heavenly punishments, which was riddled with more and more cracks, finally shattered. The powerful energy exploded in the air in an oval shape, causing the space within several dozen kilometers to distort. "Oh no! Dodge!" The expressions of Jian Chen, Bing Tianlu, and the others changed drastically after receiving the shockwaves from the sphere of heavenly punishments. They all gave up on attacking and dodged into the distance. "Yi Chenfeng, he'll be fine, right?" As he dodged, Jian Chen began to worry for Yi Chenfeng. He was worried that something would happen to him when he broke through to the realm of Supreme Kings. However, on second thought, Yi Chenfeng had passed the most difficult test of the ancient Heaven Palace and inherited its most powerful legacy. His fortune was monstrous, so he definitely wouldn't die so easily. Defend with everything you have. Faced with the terrifying storm of destruction, Yi Chenfeng immediately swallowed the water of heavenly secrets in his mouth. He burned his dragon bloodline and vital energy, frantically fusing them into the heavenly lightning battle armor to increase his defense to the greatest extent. However, the destructive force was just too terrifying. After fusing with enough energy, the heavenly lightning battle armor, whose defense had reached its peak, only lasted for 10 breaths of time before it completely shattered and turned to dust. After the heavenly lightning battle armor shattered, Yi Chenfeng quickly put on the heaven artifact armor he had obtained from killing Azure Ice Mountain. However, in just 6 breaths of time, Azure Ice Mountain's heaven artifact armor also shattered. The 2 heaven artifact armors shattered one after another, and the blood dragon scale covering Yi Chenfeng's body was directly attacked. Under the terrifying storm, the extremely tough blood dragon scale was reduced to dust. However, at this moment, the storm of destruction that had engulfed the heavens and distorted space gradually dispersed. Yi Chenfeng had relied on his powerful defense to endure the most difficult moment. Around half an hour later, the tribulation clouds in the sky began to slowly disperse. Gentle rays of light passed through the thinning black clouds and sprinkled down on the ground once more. Huff, huff, the heavenly punishment has finally dispersed. Yi Chenfeng, whose body was in tatters and severely injured, let out a long sigh of relief as he watched the tribulation clouds slowly disperse and the earthy yellow sun reappear in the sky. With his current injuries, if he were to suffer another attack from the heavenly punishment, his body would undoubtedly shatter. Fortunately, he had endured the heavenly punishment's baptism. He quickly took out a ball of life spirit and fused it into his body to quickly heal his injuries. Around 10 breaths of time later, Yi Chenfeng's shattered body had basically recovered. His broken meridians were also completely healed. He cleared away all distracting thoughts and began to refine the dragon egg's essence with all his might to break through to the peerless king realm. After receiving the heavenly punishment's baptism, although Yi Chenfeng had narrowly escaped death, he had also benefited greatly from it. Yi Chenfeng's body had become even more powerful after being tempered by the heavenly punishment's lightning. It was comparable to a high-grade heaven artifact. The meridians in his body had also become tougher and wider. His soul power flowed faster, and his ability to absorb the dragon's power had greatly increased. The primal chaos divine tree that had been suppressing the heavenly punishment and the dragon's power had also grown its 16th 5-colored divine leaf at this time, giving birth to 2 strands of primal chaos power. Hum, hum, hum. When Yi Chenfeng circulated the soul-devouring art at high speed and crazily refined the dragon egg's essence to break through to the peerless king realm, terrifying dragon roars accompanied by a suffocating power surged out from Yi Chenfeng's body. The power was so strong that it was as if a divine dragon was being nurtured between heaven and earth. The terrifying dragon's might was earth-shattering and intimidating in all directions. Bing Tianlu, Taoist Bing Yuan, and the others who had dodged far away felt their hearts palpitate. Even breathing became difficult. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button below to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 464. Is there a dragon being nurtured below? A true dragon? Bing Tianlu, Taoist Bing Yuan, and the others felt their hearts tremble when they sensed the terrifying dragon's aura from the lake. They looked at the lake's center with trembling and fear. Let's rush over and see what's going on below. Taoist Bing Yuan had been stuck as a Class 6 defiant beast king for over 1,000 years. He had never been able to break through to half-step combat beast emperor. If he didn't have any great fortuitous encounters, his flame of life would be slowly extinguished. But now, he felt that he had encountered the greatest fortuitous encounter in his life. If he could obtain it, he might be able to change his fate. Therefore, he wanted to fight for it at all costs. All right. Bing Tianlu was also attracted by the mysterious dragon's roar. If he could really subdue a young dragon, he wouldn't be afraid of anyone. The ice palace would also become a sacred ground and be revered by millions. Seeing Bing Tianlu and the others rushing towards the center of the lake, Jian Chun quickly calmed himself down. He ignored his own safety and turned into a gust of wind to block Bing Tianlu and the others. Astral wind break. 30 sword Dao patterns and 10 wind Dao patterns gushed out from his body. They quickly fused together and formed streaks of sharp crescent sword light. They tore apart the horizon and swept towards Bing Tianlu and the others like a violent storm. White Snake Seal. Bing Tianlu didn't hesitate to use the Ice Palace's White Snake Seal to block Jian Chen's astral wind break. The seal of the White Serpent grew larger and larger as it tore through Jian Chen's attack like it was nothing. The sounds of explosions constantly rang out. Water Dragon Break. The moment Jian Chen's killing move was destroyed by the White Snake Seal, Taoist Bing Yuan and the others all used their Ice Palace's inherited Dao skills and Heaven skills to attack Jian Chen. They wanted to kill him together. Not good. The combined attacks of Taoist Bing Yuan and the others caused a huge commotion and affected a huge area. The space around them trembled violently, which greatly affected Jian Chen's dodging speed. He had no choice but to grit his teeth and activate his spiritual beast bloodline to defend himself. At this critical moment, a black figure cut through the trembling space and blocked Jian Chen's attack with extreme speed. He used his body to block the combined attacks of Taoist Bing Yuan and the others. What kind of body is this? Taoist Bing Yuan and the others watched in disbelief as the sword puppet used its body to block an attack that could easily kill a level 6 defiant beast king without suffering any injuries. Swirling winds and clouds, taking advantage of their surprise, Jian Chun struck out decisively. 30 inscriptions of the Way of the Sword and 10 inscriptions of the Way of the Wind fused together, forming a whirlwind that swept towards everyone. He did his best to stall for time. White Snake Seal, extinguish. The tornado that contained dual Dao intense swept over. Bing Tianlu endlessly poured his soul power into the White Serpent Seal, controlling it to continuously grow bigger and fiercely smashing down. Chi. Facing the full-powered attack of the White Serpent Seal, Jian Chen's whirlwind trembled violently. Dense ripples appeared in the surrounding space. 2 breaths later, Jian Chen's whirlwind was destroyed by the White Serpent Seal. The power of a heavenly treasure was fully displayed. Extreme Ice Water, freeze. Jian Chen's killing move was destroyed by the White Serpent Seal once again. Taoist Bing Yuan immediately used his most powerful trump card. The polar ice water that was close to the level of celestial water flew out of his body and shot towards Jian Chen as a cold light. World Spirit Water. Sensing the power of the extreme ice water, Jian Chen took a deep breath and suppressed the surging blood in his body. He quickly stabbed out with his sword. 30 sword inscriptions flew out of the tribulation-killing sword, instantly forming a powerful sword of light that pierced through the extreme ice water. Freeze. The instant the extreme ice water was pierced through by the sword inscriptions, Taoist Bing Yuan immediately controlled the extreme ice water to freeze Jian Chen's body and slow down his movements. White Serpent Seal, annihilate. Bing Tianlu and Taoist Bing Yuan worked together very well. The instant Taoist Bing Yuan controlled the extreme ice water to freeze Jian Chen, Bing Tianlu immediately controlled the White Serpent Seal to crash into Jian Chen, wanting to kill him in one fell swoop. At the crucial moment, the sword puppet once again blocked Jian Chen, who was covered in ice. Relying on its indestructible body, it blocked the killing blow of the White Serpent Seal. Damn it, what kind of puppet is this? Why is its body so tough? It can't be broken no matter how I hit it. Seeing that the White Serpent Seal was unable to shake the sword puppet at all, Bing Tianlu's face was extremely gloomy. He continued to gather everyone's strength to attack Jian Chen, quickly approaching the center of the lake. Nay! Just as Jian Chen was withstanding the huge pressure and doing his best to stop the experts of the Ice Palace to buy time for Yi Chunfeng to break through to the king level, a dragon's roar rang out from the center of the lake that was covered in cracks. A two-headed blood dragon king with two dragon heads, a body 5,000 meters long, towering coral dragon horns, and a wash-basin-sized blood dragon scale soared into the sky, hovering in the void as it roared towards the sky. Dragon, it's really a dragon, and it's a two-headed blood dragon. Looking at the two-headed blood dragon king soaring in the sky, Bing Tianlu, Taoist Bing Yuan, and the others were all stunned. They floated in the air in a daze, not daring to approach for a moment. Phew, is Yi Chunfeng finally going to break through? Jian Chen had seen Yi Chunfeng's spirit beast before. Looking at the two-headed blood dragon king, whose dragon might shook the sky, he let out a long sigh of relief. A smile appeared on his pale face due to overexertion. Great Elder, should we still take the risk and go over? Bing Tianlu was completely stunned by the two-headed blood dragon king. His throat rolled as he asked with some fear. Tianlu, do you feel that the two-headed blood dragon king is not a real dragon, but a spirit beast? Taoist Bing Yuan, who was experienced and had a powerful soul, looked at the two-headed blood dragon king with shining eyes and said in a low voice, Spirit beast? Hearing Taoist Bing Yuan's words, Bing Tianlu's face changed slightly. He immediately released his powerful soul to sense and found something suspicious. It's really a spirit beast. Who the hell's spirit beast is? It's so terrifying. I don't know who it is, but it must be an enemy. Let's kill him together while he has just broken through and his realm is unstable. We'll be in danger if we're late. Taoist Bing Yuan, who had a strong uneasiness in his heart, said with a solemn face. Okay. Bing Tianlu nodded. They both stimulated their spirit beast's bloodline, greatly increasing their strength, and rushed to the center of the lake with all their strength. Sky-splitting wind. While Bing Tianlu and the others were attacking with all their strength, Jian Chen continued to resist regardless of his safety. Dense wind and sword shadows were intertwined, enveloping them. However, under Bing Tianlu's full attack, Jian Chen was unable to resist. They tore apart the wind and appeared above the center of the lake. He saw Yi Chunfeng, who was sitting cross-legged in the center of the lake, covered in blood and trying to break through with all his strength. Reverse Beast King Realm Breakthrough. Just as they were attacking, Yi Chunfeng, who had been baptized by the heavens and refined 2/3 of the dragon egg's essence, had finally stimulated his potential to the extreme. He had established the most solid cultivation foundation and broken through the final bottleneck, breaking through to the realm of peerless beast kings in the most perfect state. When he broke through, the soul power in his body rapidly transformed. His physical body had been tempered by the dragon egg and received a huge boost. His strength had directly increased by 1 million gene, and the dragon bloodline in his body had also smoothly advanced, reaching the 3rd-grade bloodline rank. Once he burned it, his strength would increase by 3 times. I've broken through. I've finally broken through to the realm of peerless beast kings. Yi Chunfeng revealed a faint smile as he felt his strength increase explosively after his soul power metamorphosed. His physical strength and defense had greatly increased. He raised his head slightly and looked at the Ice Palace's expert, whose aura was locked onto him. His eyes, which were as deep as the sea, shone with a strong killing intent. I'll use you guys to test my true strength. Yi Chunfeng, whose aura was like a stormy sea, slowly stood up. A sharp sword intent filled the air, and the entire world seemed to be enveloped by his sword intent, changing its color. Mobile reading website, book address. To make it easier for you to read this book next time, you can click Save at the bottom to record this book. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support.